should be good to go. And here we go. Hey, everybody. How's everybody doing? Hopefully, everybody's having a wonderful Wednesday night. We are almost to the end of the year of 2020, as well as the end of the regular season for 2020 for the NFL. We made it. I don't know how they made it. With everything going on, it is incredible to know that all the games were played, everything was good. Just I don't know how they did it. A couple things had to switch here and there, but it's just good to know that the season went and there was no hiccups, there was no cancellation, there was no postponements, there was nothing of that. So it's just good. To do these shows, it's good. This is the last one for the regular season. We're going to move on to the postseason the following week. So a bunch of games on slate, a bunch of games that are just going to end. For some teams, their season's over. After this Sunday, some teams are still trying to fight their way to get to the playoffs. And for others, they have their spot secured. And now they're just waiting to see who they get to face. So it's going to be exciting to see who shows up. And while you guys work on that, let's see. Okay, now that we got that going. So yeah, we're just gonna go through these games. Everybody's playing on Sunday. And yeah, let's just get started with the very first one. So the very first one up on the slate, we got the 4-11 Falcons going up against the 10-5 Buccaneers. So two teams going on different routes right now. The Falcons are trying to play for pride. They're trying to finish off the season on a strong note. It was a disappointing season for Atlanta, but they're trying to finish off on a strong note. They've had a couple good wins here and there. It's just it wasn't enough for them this year. Injuries and just everything's just worked against them. And for the Buccaneers, they are 10-5. They need this win. They need this win to – the division's out of the question, but they need a better playoff seeding. It's going to be interesting to see how this Buccaneer team goes because, about a month ago, ESPN was already giving them the whole hoopla of they're one of the best teams and, they might win this and, I have faith in them going to the Super Bowl. After a while now, it kind of feels like they've been fading away into the back end, which is probably good for them to, get away from the spotlight. The whole Bruce Arians, Tom Brady thing, that's now swept under the rug. So nobody's been really talking about them as of late. And, these two teams are just playing for two different reasons. It was reported today that apparently Julio Jones is a offseason trade piece. So there will be speculation this whole offseason if Julio Jones gets traded, if Matt Ryan gets traded. A bunch of things are going to start changing in Atlanta, and it's going to start with the head coach. So we'll see how that goes. For the Buccaneers, it's all about seeding for them. It's all right. They have to win this to get a better seed. They're still going to be a wild card team, but I'm sure they would rather face an easier division opponent than a harder one right off the bat. I'm pretty sure they do not want to. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they do not want to, face the Saints or any tough teams like that. So I am going to go with the Buccaneers. I'm going to go with the Buccaneers on this one. I think the Buccaneers do want to get this win. Atlanta's probably going to give them a good game. Hopefully they give them a good game. But overall, I got the Buccaneers winning this one. They need this win to get a good seeding and to have an easier path to the Super Bowl should they get there. So give me the Buccaneers over the Falcons. Next up, this is another close one. All these games are going to be really close, and all these games are really going to be down to the wire, I believe, this week. We got the Cowboys going up against the Giants. So the Cowboys are 6-9. And believe it or not, they still have a chance to win the division. Same thing with the Giants. These two teams. Well, Maria, charge your phone and I guess you can come on in. Let's see here. Here we go. But yeah, like I said, the Cowboys still have a chance. That everybody except the Eagles has a chance to get on the division. They still have a chance to win this division, and it's going to be interesting to see. So the Cowboys 6-9, they look good. They look good, sometimes, but then they look terrible at other times. And the Giants, they're a mystery. They are a mystery onto what can really happen. So it's a toss up, really. The Cowboys kind of look healthy. The Giants are getting back in their groove of things. It's tough, but I'm actually going to roll with the Cowboys on this one. I think the Cowboys do win this game. It's going to be close, but I think they do win this game. Um, it's not going to be anything crazy. I think it's going to be somewhere along the lines of like, I don't know, 35 to like 33, something weird like that, something crazy like that. And, you know, they just end up winning. The Giants, I think they're just too banged up right now to, they are too banged up right now to compete with anybody at this point with all the injuries they're dealing with. Dallas does have injuries, and Dallas is still suspect of that defense, but I think they could be able to handle the Giants. They've already beaten them 7 in a row. Why not make it 8? This is the ultimate test for Dallas. This whole year, they look so dead in the water. And for them, it's not their fault that they play in a crappy division. It's just, this is just what it is. It is what it is. I'm going to go with the Cowboys on this one. They moved to 7-9, and then they still need help, but first they got to win this one. So give me the Cowboys over the Giants. Next up, we got the 2-13 Jets. Yes, the Jets have won their last two. They beat the Rams a couple weeks ago, and then they beat the who they beat the Browns last Sunday. So that was interesting. The Patriots just got manhandled on Monday Night Football. It was just an utter joke to see what the Patriots put on the field, and I'm kind of surprised because that is a Bill Belichick team still. And the Patriots offense, there's no separation from wide receivers. The running game's all they got. There's really nobody out there to take the reins, and defensively, they can't stop anybody. Stephon Gilmore's now in IR. A bunch of players just opted out in the beginning of the year, so that was already a challenge. But for them to finish 6-9, 1 year after Tom Brady, shows kind of significant of how much Tom Brady really meant to that organization. It's hard because it's the Jets and they're kind of on a winning streak. They're kind of riding hot, and the Patriots are kind of iffy. It's kind of weird saying it's hard not to pick for them, but I think they have enough to beat the Jets. I think they have enough to beat the Jets on this one. So I'm going to go with the Patriots over the Jets, and the Jets already secured the second pick. So they already know what's at stake for them. This is all about pride for them at this point. So give me the Patriots over the Jets, and we'll see how that goes. Next up, we got the Vikings going up against the Lions. Vikings are 6-9. They had that terrible outing Christmas Day. Alvin Kamara ran all over them for 6 rushing touchdowns and 155 rushing yards. The Lions got decimated on Saturday thanks to Tom Brady and the whole Buccaneers team. Matthew Stafford went out with an injury, did not come back. And we just found out today Dalvin Cook's dad just, unfortunately passed away, so he's not going to play. So prayers to him and his family right now. So this is a toss-up. It is a divisional game. Both teams know they are eliminated from playoff contention. And the Vikings and Lions are two teams that's going to be very interesting to see how this goes in the offseason. They have a lot of questions more than answers. For Detroit, is it time for a change? They're going to get a new head coach, and usually when you get new head coaches, you want your own quarterback. Matthew Stafford was, kind of for a while, the quarterback of Detroit because they drafted him number 1 overall. Then they paid him all that money. He's getting older, so we don't know if maybe this next guy will maybe he'll choose somebody else, and maybe Matthew Stafford's on his way out. And for the Vikings, it was a good run with Mike Zimmer, but it's his time up. It's his time up as a head coach. It's kind of sad knowing that he waited so long for an opportunity to get a chance to be a head coach, and it just never worked out. And now there's, talks about him possibly leaving, possibly, being replaced. And that's a sad thing because he's waited so long to get an opportunity, all those years of being a defensive coordinator in Cincinnati and previous jobs, to finally get a shot. And he had a good run. But if this is the end, he had a good run and he has nothing to be ashamed about. And I'm sure he'll find work right away. He's just a talented coach. So in any case, and this is a tough one for me, but I'm actually going to go the Lions here. I'm actually going to go with the Lions in this game. I think they're going to prove that they do deserve one more win, and I'm going to give this to the Lions. I know their defense is bad, but Minnesota's defense isn't nothing to talk about either. The offense for both teams have been struggling. I know Minnesota, they have Adam Thielen, Justin Jefferson, Dalvin Cook is out, so that's a whole different ball game. They have Rudolph still, but I like the underdog in this one. I'm going to go with Detroit. Give me Detroit over Minnesota. Moving on, we got the Steelers and the Browns. So this is an interesting one. This is one where you really gotta dissect it further than it really is. So the Steelers are 12-3. They just kind of went on a limb here. They're gonna rest Big Ben. Big Ben's gonna take a break. He's not gonna play this week because they already kind of know their fate in this case. So they're gonna start Mason Rudolph. This is more of a audition for Mason Rudolph, kind of like his last chance for Rudolph to kind of show that maybe he is the guy after Big Ben leaves. Because from what we've seen, he hasn't looked like it. For the Steelers, it's just simple. Win hopefully to get a good seeding. That's all it is for the Steelers. Win to get a good seeding. Everybody else is going to play. We'll see how this goes. For the Browns, they are 10-5. But if they're not careful, and we got a comment, Julian Garcia, Raiders. Yeah, I'll get to them in a minute. The Browns are 10-5. They could be one of those teams who have double-digit wins and not get to the playoffs. I want you to understand what I just said. They have 10 wins, and they might not even get to the playoffs because the AFC is that stacked of really, really good, talented football teams. It's tough for me to do this. It is tough for me to go against the grain on this one. Everybody's expected back. The Browns didn't have a wide receiver, so that's one issue with them that they had going into it. The last game with the Jets, they only had like one wide receiver, and everybody else was just practice squad guys, so they did what they could. For me personally, I'm going to go with the Browns on this one. We got a comment, Steelers kind of soft. I don't think they're soft. I think they just hit a rough patch like any other team does. They just hit a rough patch, and then they just try to figure out a way to go with the motions and try to figure it out. So I don't think it was they're soft. I think they just hit a rough patch. But in this case, I'm going to go with the Browns. I kind of do not. Oh, hold on a second. Let me see here. Oh. Maria says, invite. I am trying to invite you, but it's not letting me, Maria. So we'll figure it out right now. Let's see. Okay, that's weird. We'll figure it out right now, Maria. So we'll see what happens. Because I am doing this on the phone, so I don't know if the phone and laptop don't get connected or whatever the case may be, but we'll figure this out right now. So give me the Browns over the Steelers. I think the Browns. Oh, there we go. There we go. Hold on. SOFT, man, Joanne, you are just all over the Steelers tonight. Who took a piss in your cereal, bro? And there she is. There she is. What's up, Maria?
What's going on?
How you doing?
So you sent me a message. I was like, oh, we're doing this right now. So I was like, great. I got 5% on my phone. I'm eating. I says, thanks, Lauren. Thanks for the heads up, man. I'm just kidding.
You know me. I'm always, hey, you ready to rock and roll? Oh, yeah. There he is, the real star of the show. What's up, bud?
He's going to get a little disappointed this weekend. So
don't say that.
He's obviously going to go with Denver, but when we get there, we'll talk about it.
Don't say that. Let the little man have some hopes, all right? He's had a rough year.
Right. He's had a rough season, too.
Yeah, so let's see here. So I just got done picking a few games, so we'll go back to the beginning for you, so that way we can keep tally. So the first one was the Falcons Buccaneers. I mentioned the Falcons are just all over the place right now. There's already rumors about Julio Jones, Matt Ryan being trade pieces for the offseason. So I think Atlanta is just going to do – I think it's time for them to just rebuild. They had a good run. It was fun. It's just some things just eventually they come to an end. And I think this is their end. That's why I went with the Buccaneers in this one. They need this win. A lot of people are saying, well, they're 10-5. They don't really need – well, they kind of do. I'm sure they would rather face the team that wins the NFC East than try to play in the Saints again, the Seahawks, or maybe fall in another trap game with the Packers because they had the Packers numbers in Tampa Bay. How's that going to work when they have to go to Lambeau Field? So that's why I went with the Buccaneers.
And I like that move. I think I'm looking at the schedule now. I really haven't looked at the schedule. I know those key games, like in the NFC East, those are big key games this weekend. But looking at Tampa, I'm going to have to say that there's probably no way that they can lose this weekend. I mean, there's ways to lose, but I just there's a lot of media. There's a lot circulating Mr. Tom Brady right now, okay? I think somebody even said, hey, why not send Belichick to Tampa Bay? I said, okay, calm down, everybody. Just everybody relax.
Those crazy fans.
What's going on. We see what's going on in New England. Did you see Bill Belichick throw the phone? He was mad on that sideline.
Are you kidding me?
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, I think I already have like 5 memes.
And he just threw the phone. He was done.
I think I had like 5 memes ready to go. I think I have.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I mean, I was ready to go. After I saw him throw that phone, I'm like, oh, I'm going to use this for work. Mm-hmm. How I feel after every morning meeting, just,
That's me. That's been my work week for sure. So Tampa, I mean, I like Tampa too. I think Tom Brady, even though it's taken a little bit, he's getting his feet wet of that playoff field, okay? We know Tom Brady. We know playoff TB12. Okay, we know that mentality and what he gets, but it's really got to want from the rest of the team. Again, we learned the hard way. One person does not make the team, and if we have to look at it. Really, was it all Tom Brady? But those guys have to be on board. I think Mike Evans is having a great season. He did, fell off a couple weeks. I don't know if he had an injury or what, but he wasn't getting a lot of targets. And I think the thing with Tampa Bay, we're all waiting for that big Tom Brady Gronk connect that we have not. It's been non-existent.
It was existent for, I think, the better part of the last month of the season. But I think because of our memory and what we've seen in the past, we thought immediately it's going to work. But it took a long time. I mean, and to granted, Gronk was out a year, so I'm sure he had to get his legs under him again. Because, I mean, this is what I tell people. Yeah, I'm sure he's in shape. But is he in football shape? And that's two totally different. Mm-hmm. That's two totally different worlds. So,
if none of my fellow Raider fans are watching, because I follow Tom Brady and Gronkowski on social media, and I know what they're doing in their outside of football stuff. But Gronk does do a lot of conditioning. He does do a lot of quite a conditioning on his downtime, which most athletes do. But he's constantly talking about his conditioning and. He just has a determination to not. He's not done yet, so we'll see. But I like Tampa.
Yeah. So Tampa. And as you pointed out earlier, the NFC East matchups are going to be very important. And this is one where I picked Dallas over the Giants. Look, the Cowboys cannot afford to lose this game. Dallas was dead in the water. at one point of the season. They looked like they were left for dead in the water, in the ocean, in the middle of the Atlantic.
Oh, yeah.
And they came back. They're coming back, but they still need a lot of help. But they cannot, there's no way they can afford to lose this one. They cannot work all that just to lose to the Giants. Because if they lose to the Giants, then that's it. That's the season. It doesn't matter if, Washington, they need to win this one. And that's why I like the Giants. I like
what the spread is on that. Wow. The Giants are favored in this game.
They are, but I'm going to take my chances. I'm going to take my chances, and I'm going to go with Dallas. I like the play of Dallas a little bit more than I have the Giants just these last few weeks. So, ouch, they are dead. They suck. They all suck. God. I'm going to take my chances with Dallas. So, what you got? I mean,
what did they start the season off? 2-6?
It was something like that. Something like that.
They start off, I'd go, oh, good. Finally, them boys can be quiet now, because it's definitely not the whole, the whole NFC, Francisco. I just, and I won't get into, but I think Juan and I were talking about a couple weeks ago how, maybe in a conversation we had, like, how the matchup, how is it that these NFC teams under 500 are in contention for a wild card? Like, that's just amazing. But I do, Dallas has found a rhythm. They found it. I think Andy Dalton, he's not playing good, but he's making those connects. And when I seen him hit, he's hitting Coop. If he hits Coop just twice in a game and gets those 2 touchdowns, I think truly he only needs 1 good touchdown from Coop. And then, Elliott, I don't know. Well, he's near 1,000 yards. He definitely should have been beyond that, but I don't know if he was facing an injury or not. But I think I think that Dallas defense is really going to give this Mr. Jones with 9 interceptions a tough time.
Yeah, I don't. Who would love the Dallas Cowboys to collapse right now? Stephen A. Smith. He will come back into the new year.
Oh my gosh!
And I can already, I'm going to turn on my TV, and I already know what I'm going to hear. I'm going to turn on to ESPN. That's what makes this funny. And I'm like, oh, Stephen A. is going to go off, and it's like, I love his I love his comedy, but it's just like, hey man, like, can you calm it down with the jokes? Because
I have a big my family, because my father raised me well, but the rest of my family is split between Cowboys and the 49ers. Now, I'm an only child, but I have siblings from my mom in a remarriage that they're all 49er fans. And then all my cousins are Cowboy fans. So when the Cowboys play the 49ers, oh gosh, I was like, I'm just going to go hide. But as much as I'm like, I mean, Dallas, I think Dallas is very favorable in this one. I think they will. And if they don't win, I'll tell you what.
Oh, those memes.
They all hide. I think they have to go hide at least until next season.
Oh God, those memes are going to be Dallas can't afford.
The media is going to eat them up. So
this is one game where Dallas cannot afford to lose. They can't. So that's why I'm going to go. I think Dallas can overcome every demon this week and just beat the Giants and get a little bit of extra help. So now moving on. I don't know how we're here, but we're here. The smoking hot Jets at 2-13 going up against the tumbling 6-9 Patriots. Here we are. Here we are. The Jets have won 2 in a row. They have won 2 in a row, and the Patriots look terrible at home. All right. I think there was a Monday night they did them dirty by showing how many touchdowns Cam Newton has thrown in Gillette, and I think it's like he's thrown 2, somebody's thrown 4, and he's tied with Derek Carr with 2. And I'm like, what is this? Like, what did ESPN just wait for New England to get bad just to do this right here? Or it's just one of those.
I think. Okay, let's rephrase. It should be, and you can agree with me or not. It should be the 3-12 Jets. Okay, I'm not afraid to say that. Okay.
I just go by the wins and losses. It's not my fault. It's not my fault the Jets did cover 0. That's not my problem.
We shouldn't have had no business winning that game. So I'm saying it should be the 3-12 Jets that we should be talking about. But that team just plays with a lot of heart. It's young. Darnold's not a bad guy.
That's the narrative that I keep hearing. It's Darnold's not getting it. There's times I think players get drafted, and here's the thing. I'm never going to criticize a guy that got drafted where he went. However, I will criticize how he is playing. And I think there is times where sometimes the players make the franchise worse. Sometimes I think the franchise makes the player worse. Mm-hmm. Let's say that 3 times fast. But
I know.
I think in this case, I think the franchise screwed Sam Darnold. They never, out the get-go, they never wanted to give him an offensive line. They never wanted to give him a top-notch wide receiver. They never wanted to give him a running game. They never wanted to give him a good enough tight end to compete with the rest of the AFC East. They screwed Sam Darnold. They screwed him good. Now that they're out of the number 1 spot, like that's Jacksonville. That's Jacksonville's spot. This is going to be an interesting offseason for the Jets, in my opinion. Because now Adam Gase is getting fired. Black Monday, I will be surprised if Adam Gase still has a job.
Right.
I want to see what these guys do. I think they stick with Darnold. I think that he's talented enough and he's playing well enough with what he has to where the next coach can come in and say, look, I can work with this dude for 2 years. 2 years. If nothing changes, then for sure it's him. I don't know what the Jets are going to do with the number 2 pick. It's going to be interesting for the Jets because it's like, well, do you package it? Do you give it to a team that does have 2 first-rounders? Maybe get a little bit more picks down the road? Because the Jets need a lot of help. That's still not an issue. And there's going to be a lot of cuts from the Jets. So on the Patriots, on the other hand, I keep trying to tell people this, that, it's like, well, if Tom Brady was still on the Patriots, they'd be a playoff team. No, they wouldn't. That defense is terrible. And those wide receivers, look, I know people that go to divorce court and get separated faster than some receivers in New England. Those wide receivers, I saw them on Monday night. They are incredibly slow. I mean,
I'm going to use that one. That was a good one.
I mean, that was incredibly slow.
That was a good one.
I was just like, well, no wonder Cam can't find anybody. It's like, and right away they had to do a trick play because that's the only way the wide receiver was going to get open. After that, it was like they were in check the whole game. Like that, to me, I know what New England should do first round, wide receiver. And the problem, and the funny thing is, when they draft him, he's already the best wide receiver in that room, bar none. Mm-hmm. He's already better than Harry that they drafted a couple years ago. He's better than the 34-year-old Edmund. He's better than Butterfingers Myers, unknown Burt. Like, it's sad. It's crazy.
And you don't hear Edelman's name anymore. It's gone. Like, you don't even hear of him anything on highlights. You don't hear anything.
No.
I mean, that New England team is bad. It's beaten up right now, and it definitely has to. I don't know. I think when they brought in Cam Newton, I'm thinking, okay, wow, I just think he's not in Josh McDaniels' playbook. Like, I don't think he has a design playbook for Cam Newton. Josh McDaniels is a pass it down the field. He shreds the field. And Cam is I think Cam, I mean, don't get me wrong, and when he had that good point in his career, I picked them to win the Super Bowl. And of course, when you're playing somebody like Peyton Manning on the opposite end of the field, you're going to have your work cut out, your defense. But I think he's like what they called at that time, like electrifying. He was exciting. He had a couple good years, 2, 3, maybe good solid years. But I think, again, we talk about those quarterbacks have to fit in the system. They have to fit in that system. And I don't think it's the Josh McDaniel, Cam Newton is, and the Josh McDaniel. I don't know what New England was doing picking him up. I'm not saying it was bad. I'm not saying – I don't know.
I think if he would have gone, let's just say if he was the backup to Baltimore, let's just say Greg Roman, the offensive coordinator for Baltimore, can make anything work. I've seen him doing it with Kaepernick. I've seen him doing it with Harbaugh in the 90s. I've seen him doing it now with Lamar Jackson today. I think Greg Roman is one of those offensive coordinators that doesn't get the credit he deserves because he makes it work with anything. He can make any. It's like, all right, what do I got at quarterback? I got a mobile dude. Fine. We're going to run this, and this is how we're going to beat you guys. Oh, I got a pocket guy. All right, this is what I'm going to run. Greg Roman is a name that I'm surprised never comes up head coaching job. I never understood why. I never understood because he makes it work with Harbaugh. He made it work with Kaepernick. He made it work with Lamar Jackson. When is this dude gonna have a chance? Like, okay, I get it. Eric Bellamy of the Kansas City Chiefs, he's done his part. He did good with Patrick Mahomes and that whole offense. That's great. But it's like, when's the dude gonna get a shot? You know, and that's
you hear that the KC. I mean, not to go off the picks, but KC is about to lose a couple coordinators.
They are. The KC's gonna have a really different staff next year. But with this Jets and Patriots game, I'm gonna go with the Patriots. I think they're playing for pride. I think they want to go into the season, the offseason, like, look, we won the last one. Let's keep that momentum because it's weird. You know, you always get the momentum of your last game the previous year. And I think with the Patriots, they need this win to kind of go into the next offseason like, all right, we've won. Let's move forward and let's try something new because it's a rebuild time in New England. After what we saw, it's rebuild time. So I'm going to go with the Patriots.
I agree, and I'm looking at it. So you got New England, huh?
Yeah, I got New England. I don't care how bad they look. They got to win this one.
Yeah, I'm not. I feel like I beat my team up on every pick. So I really didn't get to see what the Jets did last week. I know that they were pretty impressive. I was like, wow, I watched some of the highlights. I think I was so into the Colts. I don't know if they played the same time as the Colts and Steelers. That was a really good game.
That was.
But I look at the defense when the Raiders played them, and I go, well, I don't know if we're just that bad or the Jets got something going on here. But the mobility of Cam Newton, I think he's just going to play. He's going to remind people. He probably has something to say to himself as a player where they got humiliated this last week. Like, it was embarrassing. So I don't see Cam to be that guy. There's a lot of frustration on that sideline too.
Of course.
And I don't know. We see Bill being one of the most calm, most patient coaches, but to see him like that, something's going to change. Whatever, it's going to change. They're going to show it this week on the field, and they're going to take that into the offseason. And I don't know. Is Bill done? I don't know. But they're going to play with a lot, just to statement-wise.
I don't think Bill's done.
In the season that way.
I don't think Bill's done. I think it would be kind of like a chicken crap on his move if he were to be like, oh, 1 year out without Tom, you guys know who I am. Goodbye. You know, like, I think he wants to try to rebuild this. Like, the first time he came in, it's just he hasn't done this in 20 years. I mean, I would be calm too if I have a 6-time Super Bowl champion as my quarterback. I'd be calm too. Like, oh, we're fine. We're fine.
I would too.
So I'll go with the Patriots. I'm pretty sure you are too, from what I remember. Yep. Okay. So moving on, we got the Vikings versus the Lions. So the Vikings are 6-9. Look, both of these teams are out of the playoff picture, but these teams are fighting for pride at this point. It's a divisional game, and they both need this. The Vikings got embarrassed on Christmas Day. Alvin Kamara ran 6 touchdowns, and I'm pretty sure he is the sole reason why a lot of people won fantasy this week. He is the only reason you guys won fantasy this week. So the Vikings are trying to come off that embarrassing 50 burger that just got laid on them. The Lions, same thing happened to them on Saturday. They got decimated by Tampa Bay. It wasn't even close. Matthew Stafford head out. And I'm looking at these two teams. These two teams are heading into different directions. In one case for the Vikings, if this is, because there's rumors, if this is Mike Zimmer's last go-around, hey, he had a good run. He did everything he could for that Minnesota team. There's nothing that he can leave in that building and say, I didn't do everything in my power to try to get this team a Super Bowl. He took them to the NFC Championship. He built them great defenses year in and year out. He got them good running back in Dalvin Cook. He got them great players. There's nothing in his mind that says, I didn't do everything in my power to help this team win. So that's the one thing.
With the resource he had and the position that they got left with, I think he did a really good job with what he was able to, I like Cook. I think Cook's exciting. He's fun to watch. I just had to pull him up. I know I picked him up on fantasy earlier this year. I don't know if I traded him out for some reason, but he's got 1,500 on the season.
Well, his season's done. The news was that his dad unfortunately did pass away today, so he's going to miss the game. Yeah, I know. Okay. That's the, that's the crappy part about it. It's like you never want to hear them. I never really liked that. I always never really liked, that type of reporting side. Is like, hey, just say he's going to miss the game for personal reasons. We don't need to know about the whole. They really get into it. We don't need to know the whole about death and all that. It's like, hey, man, that's their business. You know what I mean? Like that's their thing. But it's out there now, and for the Lions, it's the same thing. There's going to be changes. There's going to be a new head coach. There's going to be a new general manager. There's going to be a new everything. I was mentioning earlier, the Lions really. There might be the same boat as Atlanta. There might be talks about Matthew Stafford possibly coming back. Because remember, it's not him that wants to leave. His wife has been kind of an advocate on social media.
Oh, yeah, she has been.
And I'm kind of like, well, what are you doing, ma'am? Like, you're not the one playing. Your husband's playing. He's the one with the job right now. So, not to say that,
I really don't like that vocal. Like, you notice that Mahomes' fiance have simmered down because Reed is a very classic guy. And I guarantee you there was a conversation that he had with Mahomes in regards to her behavior.
Oh, Andy Reid's no joke.
Shut down quick. You don't see anything from her. So I even agree with that. These guys go to the office. It's their thing. They don't need that.
Because we've seen football a lot of years now. Like our years combined of watching football, it's a lifetime. Oh, and the thing is, it's hard to win a game with no distractions. It's already hard. Now try winning one with a bunch of distractions. You ain't got no chance. You have no chance. It's hard. So in this game, however, I'm actually going to go with the underdog in this one. I think Detroit somehow pulls it off. They've already been embarrassed so many times. I do not think they can get embarrassed anymore. I think this is going to be Matthew Stafford's last hurrah in Detroit. He's going to go out with a bang, and then that's going to bring him his value up a little bit for offseason. So I'm going to go with Detroit in this one.
Okay. You have a point of that because of the conversations of what really is going on. You look at the class that Matthew Stafford was drafted in. I love that class. That's probably one of my favorite quarterback classes in a long time. But he's always been one that I've had my eye on, and I hope that he would be successful. I'm a players person, a fan more than anything, for the love of my own team. But just that whole class of quarterbacks at that time, as much as I'm like thinking, man, I think Detroit, I don't know. There's some major growing pains there. Cousins is from Minnesota. I don't know, man. I look at this guy and the trend and how long he's been in the league and playing Washington, and then he's here and he's starting, he's back up. It's not that he's bad. It's like
he's inconsistent.
Show us that you could play, like you could be consistent. You could be that one, that reliable one.
Yeah.
Show us, but his turnovers are. Man, he will throw a ball directly to a defender. I don't. There's other quarterbacks, but he is just like I don't understand.
I call him I know there's a lot of fans out there that are watching this, and they probably don't remember this name, but he's a taller with a bigger arm, Rex Grossman. Rex Grossman can throw 4 interceptions, and he'll forget every single one, and he'll still be gun happy. And that's what he is. He's the taller, more polished Rex Grossman. That's what he is, like in my eyes. It's like,
what made Rex Grossman look good was Devin Hester. Okay, yeah. That's the only thing that put those W's on them and made him look like great because he wasn't. He had that one year where he was just like, "Wow, this kid's good." And they're going. I go, "Yeah, you have Devin Hester, returning 2 punts a game. That's putting you guys up into that 7 points that you couldn't produce on offense, dude. You had it great, So Yeah, you're not lying about the Grossman thing, man. And I, for a while, I was like, oh, this kid. His team makes him look so good. And I mean, he played very fairly, but it wasn't like, oh, yeah. I don't think Cousins is a better one of those than him, if he was. But yeah. So looking at this, I'm going to go ahead and take Minnesota on this one, even though I do like the Matthew Stafford situation. I mean, I don't even know what his contract looks like. I don't think he's going to go anywhere. I don't. But again, in the group, we're not the one writing the checks. We're not the ones making the decisions.
Oh yeah.
But I think he's safe. They'd be crazy to let him go. They'd be crazy to let him go at this point because you don't have really great quarterbacks in the draft. And you don't have a lot of. I mean, look at the backups in the leagues. They're hurting them backups. They're hurting them backups as it is, and your starters are all in slumps. So, if Detroit had any sense, they need to just hang tight with him.
But to be fair,
rebuild around him.
But to be fair, he's already been in there for quite a bit. Remember, he was number 1 overall, and that was like a long time ago. Mm-hmm. My thing is, you're kind of not winning with him. So what would be the difference if he's not there? Like, what would the difference be? You save a couple bucks. You tell your fans it's a rebuild. New coach, new rebuild, because it's going to happen. You're going to have to get a new coach. They're not going to keep this guy. They're not going to keep the interim head coach. That's not going to happen. He had his audition. It failed miserably. Now, that's not due to his fault. Those are the players he inherited. But you want to see improvement. We haven't. It's the same story. So I think in the way I look at things, it's you might have to pay a little bit for dead money, but you save some cap and just rebuild. Just rebuild. I mean, you're not going to win with if you can trade them, trade them. I'm sure there's trade value there. I'm sure there's trade value for Matthew Stafford, but that's kind of the way I see Detroit kind of thinking. I think the Ford family's kind of in the.
I think I don't know what. One person I think of when I think of Detroit is, when you think of saving some money or where you can bring some money up. I don't know what Galladay's. I don't know where he's at right now. There's a couple wide receivers going to be on the table. I don't know if he's great, but that'd probably be the only place that you could say, hey, this is what I have.
It's hard for Detroit. It's hard.
Yeah, they're in a tough spot. I just had to look at what he's looking like right now, and it's not anything of what
Detroit right now is in a tough spot.
No, never mind.
They're in a tough spot because this is tough for a franchise heading into an offseason. You have no talent. Your star quarterback is getting older, and he's getting more injury prone. You have no head coach. You have no general manager. There's no future in Detroit. Your first rounders have been busting out left and right. So what do? If I'm the Ford family, I really have to look at this deep within my soul and say, I need to make the right choices. I cannot afford another letdown. They can't afford it. Because Detroit fans, and I have plenty of Detroit fans, Lion fans and everything, they're starving for a win just like we are. They keep saying the same thing we do. When is it going to be our turn? When's it going to be our turn to take over the North? When's it going to be our turn to show the world what we can really do? And it's frustrating because I'm there with them. 5-11, 6-10 seasons. Hey, I'm right there with them. I understand their pain. I feel for those guys. It's hard. It's hard to, and especially as you get older, the patience just wears thinner and thinner and it's torture. So I agree. And it's a tough spot for Detroit, but I think Detroit's got him this week. I go for Detroit. So you got Minnesota. I got Detroit. Yeah. That's the first game. So here we go. We got the Steelers and the Browns up. That's where I left off when you started coming in. So the Steelers, they're now 12-3. They look like they got their funk back. Big Ben's not going to play. They already said that he's out. They're going to rest him for the playoffs. Mason Rudolph, this is more of an auditioning more than anything. He has to show that he is the future after Big Ben, because if not, then it's they have to look somewhere else. And for the Browns, they're 10-5. They are a team that has double-digit wins, and there is a 7th seed this year, and they still might not make the playoffs. How crazy does that sound to you?
Because the AFC again, I just can't. I mean, I go back to you look at the ratio to the AFC and the NFC. Those ones that are in, you're like, how? And the ones that aren't, that potentially could be out after this week with a 10-5 record, and you're not going to make playoffs because your division is, you've got that guy there, and then even with the 7th seed, like you say, you think of like all these teams are doing well. Man, Baltimore just really made a difference in this whole everything, and they should have beaten Baltimore to probably have a little bit more hope than what they're going to have going in this weekend.
Those points that Cody Parkey left on the field might be their doom, might be their downfall for them not making it.
Yeah.
And that's Cleveland did everything right. They played defense well. Their offense was scoring. Their kicking game killed them. That's going to be the difference of their season if their season comes to an end this Sunday. And look, for the Steelers fans are going to be holding their breath. They're going to not cheer for a win, but they're going to cheer that Mason Rudolph does well enough to where they're like, hey, we have a solid backup, because if he goes out there and he flunks it, they're going to be scared. I know because Big Ben's not going to be around any longer. And the thing is, you don't already have a running game, but if Big Ben leaves, now you have no quarterback and no running game. Now what do you do if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers? You got a great defense, but you're going to have a terrible offense. So what do you do if you're Pittsburgh at that point?
So let me ask you this. You thought you'd ever see the day that you see Pittsburgh without a run game?
Never. I don't remember the last time Pittsburgh having I remember growing up, it was Jerome Bettis, then it was Marshall for a bit, then Le'Veon Bell came onto the scene. So it always seemed running backs would leave, but they would just pick it up right there. They would just pick it up where they left. And now I'm kind of like, who's their starter? Is it Connor still? Is it Washington? Is it Benny Snell? What are we doing? Like, who's so that's the problem. That's the problem where I see Pittsburgh heading into next offseason. That's the problem I see them going into the playoffs. In the playoffs, you need a good running game and a solid defense. If you ain't got that, you need those two. I don't care how good your quarterback is. I do not care. You need a good running game in January.
And you need it in January, and with the Browns playing as well as they are, Baker's not going anywhere. They're going to pick up that one or two players that's going to really make them, wow, they're going to these guys are for real. They didn't just have this season where they ended up being 10-5 because they took chances, they took opportunities. They had a quarterback that took those shots down the field, and they had a defense who very well backed up their offense, which is a lot of growing pains for a lot of teams this year. But for Pittsburgh to survive and for Tomlinson, let's not say Pittsburgh, let's say Tomlinson to survive and continue to be that dominance in this league, they're going to have to go after a strong back. Connor's young. He's not great. I don't have him up, but I think he may just have 4 or 5, maybe 5, 6 touchdowns on the season.
It's rough. It's hard watching.
That's not Pittsburgh. That's not Pittsburgh rush game.
No.
Pittsburgh rush game.
No.
At all.
I'm used to seeing 100-yard games week in, week out.
Yeah.
And this year I'm just kind of like, where's the running game for Pittsburgh? Because I'm not going to say had they had Le'Veon Bell, but if they had like a serviceable back, we'd be talking a whole different story now. We wouldn't be talking about maybe Buffalo dethroning the Chiefs. We would be talking about the Steelers dethroning the Chiefs. But I can't see that happening. I cannot see that happening. So in this case, however, I don't trust Mason Rudolph at all. I already saw enough from him last year to know that, you're not it, dude. I can understand if you're a rookie, you made mistakes, but when you're you're kind of your third year and you're still auditioning, I've seen enough. I'm good. So I'm actually going to go with the Browns on this one. I think the Browns can handle the Steelers this week. And I think they hit 11-5. Now there's The sad part is 11-5, and they're still going to need help. They're still going to. That's the sad part. Double digits, and you still miss the playoffs. That's tough.
That's just crazy. Like, I keep thinking about that. I think that maybe yesterday I was listening to Monday. Maybe what's today? Wednesday. Yeah, I was listening to the NFL morning, and I was like, wow, they're 10-5, and they potentially could not make it. They potentially will lose out. With them, I think they don't want that to happen. They are going to need some help from another game that's going to be quite interesting this weekend. So I think that they're going to play strong. They're going to be at home. I don't know if the weather is going to be like that. If the weather is a factor, we're going to see Chubb run. Like, we're going to see him run. I don't think, maybe some short passes, maybe handoff, but I think they have enough on there. Rain, sleet, snow. Again, with Rudolph being on the other end, I think Cleveland's going to put on a show this weekend. I think they're going to play well.
Yeah, I do trust Cleveland enough to where I think they're going to get over the hump. So I'm going to go with the Browns on this one, and we'll see how that goes. And then here we go to finish off the AFC North. We got the Ravens going up against the Bengals. Now this is going to be an interesting one. This is going to be the one where, should the Ravens win, they own the tiebreaker to Cleveland. So then that's one cop out from Cleveland. Now they have to hope a bunch of other stuff happens for them. Now, the Bengals, they're playing with pride at this point. It is all about pride for the Bengals. And look, on the Bengals, I already know where, if I'm Zach Taylor, I would go to because right now, after Sunday, the NFL draft starts for a bunch of teams. It's draft season for them. If I'm Zach Taylor, I go to my scouting department and tell them, I need you to look at every offensive tackle that is eligible to be drafted this year. I need you to look at every single one, and we need to come up with a decision on who we're taking in the first round. That's it. The main focus for the offseason for the Bengals, you got to protect Joe Burrow. He's shown what he can do. He had a broken A.J. Green, an unsuspected T. Higgins. Joe Mixon's going to come back healthy next year. The Bengals they're going to be good, and the defense is going to get better. The main focus for the Bengals, you need to protect Joe Burrow at all costs. That's it. There's no ifs or buts. It has to be, whether it's tackle, guard, center, it does not matter. I need you to find me the best offensive lineman when we are on the clock.
He needs a blind spot. He needs a blind spot. He needs that. It's going to be either of those three positions, but I think a blind spot is definitely key. I mean, Trent Brown, gosh. But he's going to need that. I mean, he's young. He's got a lot of agility. He can be exciting. He can potentially be dangerous back there if he's properly set up. He's got to have that security there in that pocket. But Mixon is a huge miss for that team this year. I know they're missing him.
Up until the Joe Burrow injury and before Justin Herbert was even playing, it's like, all right, the offensive rookie of the year is Joe Burrow, because he's playing behind a terrible line and he's still putting up great numbers. Now that after that injury and now the surgence of Justin Herbert, I'm not saying Justin Herbert doesn't deserve it. It's just, should they have kept playing, Joe Burrow would have still been doing Joe Burrow things. Justin Herbert would have been doing Justin Herbert things. But yeah, they both deserve it. I'm not saying either or. I'm just saying they both deserve it. It's just, in this case, we know what the strategy is for the Bengals. It's offensive linemen. If they go anywhere else, it'll be a shocker to everybody. I will literally FaceTime you and be like, what are you hearing? What do you know that I don't know? Because there's no way they pass offensive linemen when they're on the clock. There's no way. It's unthinkable to me. And for the Ravens, look, they're 10-5. They need this win. They need this bad. They're in the same boat as Dallas. They need this. And the thing is, the Bengals, you play them twice a year. So there's players that know you better than your wives, better than your moms. That's the scary thing. So when you have guys that are on the other side that know you, that's the scary thing. But the Ravens need this win. I'm going to go with the Ravens. I think they can pull it off, but I will not be shocked if there is an upset. And this is one of the upsets I do see happening this week, where the Bengals just somehow miraculously pull this off and ruin the Ravens' chances.
It's really scary to not really be favorable about an upset because we are in the final week and thankful they have that. If you really take away the 17th week, look at where a lot of the teams would be, right? So teams better take advantage of this. We've had it for a couple of seasons now. I want to be favorable to an upset, but again, Baltimore Harbaugh, he's not going to put his head down, and I think Lamar Jackson's feeling it. They know the position they're in. Whether they get the help or not, they're going to show everybody that they very well were going to be in there. And if they don't, truly, a lot of teams better be thankful that they're not going to be in it. That's just
Baltimore.
That's just my take on it.
Baltimore's a team right now where, and we talked about this, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, we talked about it's like the most dangerous team is a team that is finding the groove this late in the season. Their defense is playing lights out, and the offense is scoring in almost every time I turn away and I come back, there's another highlight for the Ravens. There's always another highlight, and I'm just like, when are these guys going to stop scoring? When?
Yeah, for me, Baltimore is going to show, hey, we're not going to give it to you easy, but I think Baltimore is going to, towards the end, mid-third quarter on, they're definitely going to just walk away with this one. So I'm going to go ahead and take Baltimore.
All right, so here we go. An AFC East matchup that a lot of people have been kind of bringing up, which is important. It is no longer the Patriots division. It is now the Buffalo Bills division. And they have to face one of probably their toughest matchup. This is the matchup that they wanted to avoid, but it's here because they have no choice, and they didn't expect the Dolphins to be that good. It is the 10-5 Dolphins against the 12-3 Buffalo Bills. Look, say what you want. Call it crazy that Brian Flores does, okay, Tua, you play, Ryan, close it. Call it crazy, but guess what? They're 10-5 and it's working. Whatever. Hey, whatever. It's football. You do what you got to do to win. I don't care. And for the Bills, look, they're 12-3. They're the new AFC East champs. However, they're running into a Dolphins team whose offense is going. Now that Myles Gaskin is fully healthy and running again, that's scary. You got wide receivers that are open. Chisesky's finding his groove. And the Dolphins defense is no joke. How the Raiders played the Dolphins defense was amazing to me. Because every week up until the Raiders, the Dolphins defense was killing it. On special teams defense, they were killing it. This week against the Raiders, that Dolphins defense looked normal. It looked normal. So now that's my fear because Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills, they're still playing for that second seed. They're still playing for that because if they lose and Pittsburgh wins, well, now they jump. See, right now they have Pittsburgh's number because they're both 12-3. They own the tiebreaker. But should Pittsburgh win, Buffalo loses. Now Pittsburgh's number 2 and Buffalo's number 3. So they're still playing for something. I think this is going to be, wow, we do have a comment. Gaskin is overrated. Ouch. I think he's a serviceable running back. He's shown his stuff. I like him. I think he's still a little too young to be considered one of the best, but I think if he puts up another year injury-free and maybe a COVID-free, I think he can get some looks. But overall, this is a tough one. I like what Buffalo's doing. They look good. I like what the Dolphins is doing. They look good. I just don't think Buffalo wants to flirt with danger of going from 2-3. So I'm going to take Buffalo on this one.
You have good points when it comes to Miami. I mean, it's hard to still take that Miami game out of my head. I don't even want to talk about it. I think we should pick a day where we could break down. I don't know if you and your brother did it yesterday. I seen you guys on yesterday, so that was, oh my gosh. I don't want to talk about it because I'm finally kind of over it.
Yeah, my brother, he left it all out there.
Gaskin's young. He's good. He carries well. I don't know. To me, I think he's a little small, but he's growing, and the conditioning, we'll figure that out in the off season. But for me, there's just one name that's it has me. There's no doubt that Buffalo's gonna definitely finish, and that's Josh Allen. He is having quite a season. This man is hot. He is on fire. It's just impressive. I'm going to say it right now, and you can write this down. I'm rolling in favorable with them all the way through.
Oh, so you're thinking Buffalo's going to take it all. That's it. Oh, boy. You're about to make a bunch of Packer fans, a bunch of Saints fans, a bunch of...
Okay, let me slow down. Let's go for the AFC right now. They're my favorite. Okay, let's go. AFC is my favorite. I hope... I was really thinking... So my prediction, I have a friend of mine that just... Josh Allen is here from Fireball High School, about an hour and a half, or about an hour or so away from Fresno where I'm at. And one of my daughter's really good friends, we went to school with him and stuff. She's always posting and stuff. I go, hey, I forgot he's from Fireball. And, the local news talks about him. They post about him all the time. And then just have an opportunity to just watch this kid just do what he does. He likes to win. We know, he is my pick to win this week. Miami's cute. Don't get me wrong, and I'm not saying that because I'm mad at what they did. They're cute, and they're doing. Fitz came in, and he did what he does best, and he destroys a Raiders defense because he's been doing it for a long time. He's played these guys well long enough. We don't change the system, so he came in and get a job done. Now, not saying that that's going to potentially carry them into next year, and that's going to be what their go-to is. But again, we look at what the quarterback core looks like. We look at, who's out there, who's potentially going to be starters and backups and things like that. But Miami still has some pieces missing. I want to give them credit for last week, but the Raiders are just that bad in a position, coaching everything around. But I still ask myself, how are they 10-5?
Great defense.
I keep asking myself, how are they 10-5? I think they split in the division, but Buffalo's already beat them, right? I don't think they beat them. So they've split the division so far, except with Buffalo. So I don't see that happening this weekend. I don't see it. Josh is what worries me is that Buffalo wins. They're going to get the bye. I don't want them too comfortable. I don't want this team too comfortable.
Well, no, only the first seed gets the bye.
They should lose out. Oh, that's okay. That's right. We still have Steelers. I don't want them getting comfortable. I don't want Buffalo to get comfortable. Do I want them to get a little humble pie? Absolutely. Or just keep that, but not against Miami. I don't want that against Miami. I don't want to give Miami
because that's another team too.
They've taken out. Right.
That's another team too. Miami's 10-5, and they could be on the outside looking in. Again, going back to what you've been saying for a while now, the ratio from the AFC to the NFC, it is a joke. In the NFC, the first teams you think of are the Packers, the Saints, and the Seahawks. In the AFC, you get to the Chiefs, the Bills, the Steelers, the Colts, the Ravens, the Browns, the Dolphins. And I'm sure we're missing a bunch of people. Like, we're missing and that's the thing. The AFC is just so well stacked, it's hard. I did it a couple episodes on my podcast a couple episodes ago, and I said, comparing the AFC to the NFC is like the NBA. The AFC is like the Western Conference. From 1 to 8, it's stacked. In the East, you go 1 to 3, and then 4 to 8, they're just, whatever. At that point, you might as well replace teams that missed out in the playoffs in the West and just move them to the East because it'd be a lot better competition at this point.
It's funny that you say that. I'm curious. Not that we'd want that, but look when they did it when they moved Seattle. They're like, okay, yeah, we got to make it more interesting in the NFC side. And now look at the AFC is like, vice versa. I wouldn't want that. If I look at the picture now, I don't think I'd want that because you think of who would go where. I sure as heck wouldn't want to see any of those NFC West teams in our. Oh, are you kidding? No, don't move nothing. Hey, move Kansas City out of our. Sure, I'll be.
I'm sure you would, but
Mahomes has 3. He still can't. No, let's go ahead. If we're going to make that move, let's go ahead and move Kansas City. Put him over there with the.
I am actually okay with this.
Yeah, it'd be interesting if they. I don't. It's like it's been a couple years now that it's been this way, but I don't think the NFL drastically change like that. I know these teams as much as I don't want him to, the game has changed a lot, right? The style of play.
Oh, yeah.
You can count on your hands how many veteran coaches you have on there. And I don't mean just coordinators. I mean just head coaches. And then you have all these young coaches with all this potential. You got young Shanahan. You have Miami's guy, and you've got Rams. What's his name? I can't
McVay.
think. You have these, and it's different, and they're showing it. They're really changing the game, the style of play. So it's just going to be some adapting to. You have these longtime veteran DCs out there, OCs, line coaches. You still have young quarterback coaches, and I think that's why these young quarterbacks are so successful, is because of that. They're fresh out, but
yeah,
it'll be interesting, really interesting.
Yeah.
So I of course, I'm a big Diggs person. I'm a big Diggs fan, Josh Allen fan. Those two, man, they are something special. I'm trying to look at what they're. I'm trying to see if I can pull up the comparison, just season wise. So if you have Green Bay fans out there, I'm not trying to hurt your bromance with Rodgers and Devontae. I'm not trying to hurt any other
there's no better
relationships, but this one is definitely one in the making right here.
It is, yeah. Devontae and Aaron Rodgers right now, that's the best duo right now. Quarterback to wide, that's the best one right now. But Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs, they're not that far behind. They're pretty close. So
yeah, I would like Russell and Lockett for a little bit, but I don't know. We'll talk about Seattle when we come to them a little.
Well,
concerned
that's
about
actually kind of funny. They're next. So we got the 11-4 Seahawks going up against the 6-9 49ers. So, look, this is real simple for me. I got Seattle. San Francisco's just way too banged up right now to compete with anything. They have so many problems than they do answers. I don't know what the 49ers issue is. They're just not – it just wasn't their year this year, whether it was injuries, head coaching, the coaching staff, the conditioning. I don't know what it was. The Super Bowl hangover, that's a real thing. That is a real thing. A lot of fans think it's all hoax. Super Bowl hangovers are for real. So my thing is, I think Seattle, they need this one. Because remember, nobody's locked up the number one seed for the NFC yet. Nobody. So they need this. Seattle needs this win. Because they need this win just as much as Green Bay needs it. Because would Seattle rather have home field advantage all the way through? I know it's a 12th man, but there's no fans allowed. But you don't have to travel. Or do you want to take your chances at Lambeau Field? Do you want to play the NFC Championship game in Lambeau Field, possibly in the snow, blizzard, cold, tundra? It is crazy that time of year.
I'm gonna get crap for this, and it's nothing personal, but I think Russ is too cradled in his marriage to handle some snow.
Ouch. Oh.
I think he's a little bit. I love it. I think they're my favorite celebrity couple, him and Sierra. But I don't know. Yeah, I definitely would not want to go to. I wouldn't want to go to Green Bay at all if I was him. So, really valid points there. The only thing that it's a division game.
Oh yeah, of course. You never count on division games, but I just looking at the 49ers right now, and it's like,
oh yeah,
man,
they're hurting.
You're like they're so depleted.
They have a lot.
They're so depleted. I do not know who's going to run it this week. I don't know who's the wide receiver. I don't know if George Kittle's even healthy to go. Jimmy Garoppolo's out. The defense is broken. Who's out there? Who's really playing out there for the 49ers right now? Like, it's rough. It's rough.
So I shared the video to my personal page. So I'm just trying to take a shot here and hope that some of my fellow 49er fans, a good friend of mine, she dislikes the Raiders but loves them because of me and her dad. I have a respect for them 49ers because my sister is a huge fan, and my friend too. But they like Mullins. But Mullins is he's 50-50. He's got 12 touchdowns and 12 INTs on the season.
Mullins is a Nick Foles. He is a dude where if your starter goes down and if your starter goes down and you have a talented team around him, he doesn't have to do that much. Just do enough to get the win. That's Nick Mullins. He's good enough to play, but he's not good enough to start 16 games. He's just not. And that's the hard part of valuing quarterbacks. It's I don't care how good your arm talent is. See, that's the thing a lot of people don't understand during the draft process. Yes, arm talent's important. Everything's important. The thing is, the eye test. When I look at you, can I trust you for 16 games? Because if I can't, then why am I going to pick you so high? That I can't do it. That's my thing. That's my thing. I always the talent's cool, the accolades are cool, the evaluations is cool. But for me personally, it's if I see you and I don't have that gut feeling where I can't trust you for 16 games, I'm not even gonna look at you. There's just no way I can look at you.
I think he is that guy, and you do have a point there. I pay more attention. I think this is what, and no offense, and I know I'm not the only one, but there's tons of women out there who love the sport. I'm not about just, I pay attention to the, like I talked about with Tom Brady and Belichick, to the connection, to the, what is that word I'm looking for, to this, how are they talking to each other? And I talked about, you hardly see conversations with Gruden. It's just really quick, come off the field. You could see that, and you see a lot of teams. I'm not going to pick on teams because I got to remember we're on an all-fan team. You got different various fans here. But you see the quarterback, they just go off and they, you could tell where you could see that there's not a lot of trust and comfort. There's not a very good chemistry and relationship because they'll come off the field and they'll just walk right past the coach, go sit down. There's no words exchanged. There's no like, hey, Gruden does that with Carr. You see a lot. Harbaugh talks to, Lamar a lot. You see those coaches that do that, and that tells you right there. It's almost like, wow. It's like for me playing sports, I'm like, man, the coach hasn't said a word to me all game. It just has me out there or something, and it's like, hey, you good? You're right. Okay, I've coached myself, not football, but I did softball coaching. So you do, especially with your pitcher, quarterback, same thing in the sense. You have to have a chemistry. You have to have it. And if there's not, and it goes back to saying, then there's really not a trust there. It really isn't a trust there. My problem with Mullins is he can throw the ball, he can get, but again, it's going back to you are that Nick Foles, okay? You're not that Josh Allen. You're not that. And that's too high of a level to even speak. But he needs to understand that. I get it. Play with your heart, kid. Play with your heart. Go out there and play ball. Go out there and show that you're going to throw and that you potentially, if you're saying that this position's up for grabs and you may possibly be that guy, controllables. And that's the immaturity with him, I think. That's the thing that I see with Mullins a lot. Is just the immaturity still. Like the mentality.
It is. Yeah. And the thing is, though, to his credit, he wasn't even supposed to play. He was an undrafted camp arm. He impressed the San Francisco 49ers enough for him to be the third string. Then when the second stringer went down, it was his time to shine, and that's how he still kind of sticks along with the 49ers. And I think he's playing with his heart because he says, well, I might never get another shot. Well, it's like, well, dude, if you keep turning the ball over, we like your spunk, but we can't trust you if you keep turning the ball over. So I think it'll get into his head eventually that, hey, he knows what he's doing, and I think he's just having fun. But it's like, all right, I'm not saying bring down the fun, just control your emotions. Yeah.
For me, if I were Shanahan, I probably would hang on to him.
I would.
I don't think I would do any. I think I would hang on to him, let him get. Again, the league is hurting in quarterbacks right now as far as active and things like that in the draft. We all know who's going to be that number one pick, and they over projected that Jacksonville is going to take him. But I don't know. Garoppolo, I heard that he's going to be that guy again next season. I follow a local San Francisco station here because of the San Francisco Giants, the KNBR, and they're talking about Shanahan says Jimmy's back. Jimmy's coming back. He's that guy. He's that guy. But does the team really trust Jimmy? I don't know. Maybe it's skeptical. I can't say. It's just they sat him. They're like, okay, what's going on? Super Bowl hangover. the other thing too is like, look at Salah's leaving. He's potentially going to be head coach for the Detroit, and then if that's the case, I think it's Detroit. He's possibly going to be up for a head coach job. And then you have, don't get me wrong. I think this guy has played, and I don't like to be that. We get this a lot. I don't like to be that fan that knocks off these veterans who just are out of their prime already, and it's time maybe for them to put up. But people are beating up Sherman. Don't do that, because if you're going to beat up Sherman, that tells me that you do not watch football. Because Sherman has been the man for quite some time.
Sherman's been something. He's
time.
At one point, it was, for me growing up, it was Woodson and Champ Bailey. Then after a while, it went to Darrelle Revis, Nnamdi Asomugha.
Oh, yeah.
Heading into this one now, it seems like it's Richard Sherman and it's Richard Sherman and whoever wants to be the number 2 guy. Because remember, when Sherman came in, Darrelle Revis was already kind of like, he was still good, but he wasn't Revis Island anymore. Like, and then it's same thing happens to all these players. Like Charles Woodson, once it came to the end of Green Bay and they moved him to safety, it was like, you're still Charles Woodson, but you're not Charles Woodson the corner. Now you're Charles Woodson. You're Charles Woodson the defensive back, which is still good. And then same thing with Champ Bailey. It's like, hey, you're no longer Champ Bailey. You're Champ Bailey, but now you're in a Saints uniform. Like, yeah,
and that was a hard pill for me to swallow just because of the rival with Denver. But I've always thought Denver has been just a great team. When they were playing well, Champ was playing. He was balling out. He was doing good. And again, it just goes to where, hey, don't take, these guys are humans. Just think about it. They're playing, they're traveling, they're getting hit. Gosh, look at they say the impact is almost as if hitting the car. What do you want them to play like that for? They're not a quarterback who doesn't get a lot of contact, But these guys are hitting. That's a wear and tear, They're not going to play 20 years for you at time. They're going to give you a good, at least in that position, I don't know, 7 years, maybe 6, 7 great years if you're lucky. But I don't like when they knocked on Champ, and I go, he's like, he gave you guys some good seasons. What do you want? Like,
Champ Bailey gave.
I don't know. I can't on some.
It's hard. I think what it is, there's a love-hate thing with fans. Like, like we're fans, but at least me and you have already had enough conversations to know, like, hey, it's getting over, but those were great years. And if he wants to keep playing, who am I to stop him? I think there's just I think the problem is now with social media the way it is, and I say this a lot. These guys can hide behind a fake picture and talk all this mess. That's the thing I don't like. It's so easy for somebody to create an account nowadays, get a picture, hide behind that picture of a fake thing, and talk all this mess, and you'll never know who it was. You'll never know. And that's the hard part, because to your credit, and you are right, Sherman has been one of the top corners ever since he came into the league. He's been the top dude since him and Patrick Peterson went at it for a while. And, then Patrick Peterson kind of fell off. He's starting to gain back his momentum. And that's the thing. I always appreciate these guys because it's like, I remember watching him play and it was cool. And then when they retire, it was like, man, that sucks. Like, those were good years. Like, it's going to be a hard pill for me to swallow because my whole life now, it seems like I grew up with Larry Fitzgerald. That's going to be a tough one. That's going to be a tough one. It's going to be like, you sure, man? You sure you don't got like 5 more in you? But I know it's just eventually time's coming. The time's coming.
It's coming. And I think it's saddened is that, we got to get on board with these young players that are coming up now. Our Fitzgeralds are leaving, our Shermans. I love Devin McCourty. I've been always favorable to that Pat secondary. I like those guys. They've always played well together. There's a couple. Look at Seattle, still stacked with a couple of vets. It's gonna come where it's like, okay,
see ya. Like, I still, it's tough. But going back to it, give me Seattle over the 49ers. There's just no way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then,
Sorry, family.
Yeah.
If you're listening, I apologize, but this is the last season. We've got these teams that have a lot of reason to play. They're ready to fight because they know what's coming ahead.
So absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Then here we go. Moving on to the next one. This is a quick one. Look, it's Arizona versus the Rams. It's very simple. Both of these teams need a win. They need a win. Look, Cooper Kupp is not going to play. Jared Goff is not going to play. The question is Kyler Murray going to play? There's still no true answer to that yet. They're still evaluating him. It's going to be hard for me to go against the grain. It seems like I do this every year. Last week, I go against the grain. That's why this week I'm going to take the Arizona Cardinals over the Rams. I have to. It's just I can't see other than Goff. I know Goff isn't the best, but I think he's the best option for the Rams right now to run that offense. And for Arizona, it's very simple. They've been catching fire lately. Their defense is starting to come on. Their first rounder, Isaiah Simmons, is catching on now. And Arizona has D-Hop. I know Jalen Ramsey is going to cover him, but it's still a matter of, okay, you can cover D-Hop. Kyler Murray's still going to do his thing. That's the scary part. And if that defense shows up on Sunday against the Rams, give me the Cardinals over the Rams on this one.
Yeah, I know, again, Goff, I mean, he's been a topic of conversation. Truly, is he the future? Is he truth? Is he going to be what this Rams team needs to succeed on the offensive end? I'm watching that 49er and Rams when they played each other. I mean, don't get me wrong, the San Francisco Giants, I'm in baseball mode. The 49ers, their defense is still well put together. I mean, Saleh's doing what he can, and that's what's amazing about that guy. So, it took him a couple weeks, but, missing Bosa was huge on that team. That's like a huge hit.
Oh, yeah.
That's like, that was huge. But he made it. He made the adjustments. He brought in some off the bench. Like, he really just made it happen. The guy, he could do that. So watching them play against Goff like that, I was like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm looking at it. Would I trust this Rams offense against a team that could play a little bit of ball on both sides? I know Kupp's out. I know he's out. So I don't know who Goff's going to throw to in this sense. He's got his
other safety net. He's got Woods. He's got Higbee.
Right. Woods is the one I was thinking about. I was trying to think of who that was, but I know Cooper's out. And then he's got a tackle that's out, questionable.
And then the status of both running backs.
Malcolm Brown.
And the thing is,
questionable, but I think he'll play.
And the statuses of both running backs are pretty much up in the air with Cam Akers, Henderson. They're both up in the air. So that's why I'm going to go with the Cardinals. I think everything's just going so wrong for the Rams at the wrong time. Pretty hard one, huh?
It is. It's a very tough one, and I'm a little bit of me is gonna. I want to say that, but because of the fact that you did pick Arizona, and I'd like for us to have two very good, close games that are going to be different, I'm going to go ahead and take the Rams with this one. They've had some embarrassing losses.
Really? The Rams have embarrassing losses? No.
Stop. I'm thinking of that 49er loss. You lose the 49ers. Who knows? We probably wouldn't be able to contend against that defense, even if there. So I'm not even going to go there. So yeah, that was it. That was a credit to you 49er fans out there. I'm going to go ahead and just go with the Rams on this one. So you're going to put me down for the Rams.
Okay, so I'll put you down.
Make it interesting. We got to make it interesting.
Okay, well, we'll keep that interesting then. So here's one. Right. So the 1-14 Jaguars, they already locked up the number 1 pick. They are on the clock since last week. They are officially on the clock for the draft season. Now, their only win came in week 1. They have lost 14 straight. Their only win was against the team they're playing against this Sunday, the Indianapolis Colts. And you know what's funny about that? Hindsight is 20/20, right? Should the Colts have won on that one, they would be 11-5 right now. And they are another team on the AFC side who could miss the playoffs if things don't go their way. That's the beauty of football, ladies and gentlemen. That's the beauty of it.
That is the most beautiful, that is the most insane thing about football right now. Okay, because the Colts should have already been. Like, I think the Colts should have already been there. Like, you guys, here's your ticket. We'll see what happens with these other 2 games that are going to be going on. But yeah, they're still. It's I can't believe there's not a lot of lockups in the AFC right now. I had to look at that like 10 times yesterday on Monday. I go, wait a minute, and I'm looking. I go, well, you have the 3 teams we already know of, and then man, it's so scary with Jacksonville. Not scary. Somebody's going to get a huge upset this weekend.
I already picked mine. I think if anybody's going to get an upset, I think the Bengals can get the upset over the Ravens. I do not see Jackson. I can't see Jacksonville sweeping the Colts. There's no way.
Oh no way. They and I think Mr. Phillip Rivers. He's on a mission here.
Now, here's the sad part. This might be one of the best teams he's ever played with since his early year with the Chargers. Because those Chargers in the early years when he first started, that was a good Charger team. I mean, a lot of people forget about those Charger teams from LT, Phillip Rivers, Vincent Jackson, Antonio Gage, Sean Merriman, Antonio Cromartie. That was a really good football team. And a lot of people forget that because they never won. They never took it to the next level. And that was the saddest part. Phillip Rivers' best years of his good years teams were when he first showed up to the San Diego Chargers. Now he's with the Colts. This might be his 3rd best team ever, and they still probably won't make it to the Super Bowl. They probably won't even make it to the playoffs. That's how unlucky Phillip Rivers' career is. Good player with good teams, just could never win the big one. That's the sad part.
And I'm going to go with some truth on that. I, again, am a Rivers fan, except when he likes to taunt across the field. I have to set that up. And we talked about the humbleness in this guy and T.Y. That came out of nowhere. But everybody wants to beat the Raiders. Everybody feels good when they beat the Raiders. So that was very good for them.
Oh, especially Rivers. He wants. He won.
Oh, yeah. They loved it. It. The thing with Rivers is, you're right. We've seen him there quite a few times, and I really thought it was their turn when they played Pittsburgh until, you see the bus take off. I go, oh, well, there's your chance. With Rivers, I'm sorry. He's going to probably have to end his career without a ring.
That sucks. I
wish more for him. But and it's not really about, the Colts are playing some really good ball. Had they pulled that Pittsburgh win and their defense not let Pittsburgh come back the way they did, I say, oh yeah, this team has noticed what they need to do and what it takes to win the game and get it done to be able and seed. That game was very well in their favor up to the 3rd quarter. And here comes, and it was like, wow, am I watching the Raiders play Pittsburgh? Because this defense is just allowing them just to get in here and take the lead. And then they won favorably points. I think they put up 30 plus points.
Yeah.
I said, how do you do that?
It's hard. It was a hard thing to watch.
I'm not a Steeler hater, and I'm not a Big Ben hater. I used to go for them. I used to be in favor for them quite a bit, unless they were playing Mr. TB12 or Peyton Manning. Then I'm a quarterback fan when it comes to that part. But I wanted the best for Rivers. I do. And then what's funny, watching the game, they said a name that he very well could be not so much like, but it's the same story. Except this person played with one team their whole life. Well, instead of early career. Dan Marino. He's going to have beautiful numbers. He's going to sleep. He's going to retire with beautiful numbers. We're never going to stop hearing the name Rivers. I just don't see him retiring with the ring.
And that's going to be a tough one because he had plenty of chances. It's just whatever the circumstances was, it was just an unlucky break all those times. And that's the unfortunate part. But this week for sure, I think the Colts get the win. I think they get the win over Jacksonville. I don't think there's no way Jacksonville can get this win. They already secured the number one. I think they just want to make sure that they really get the number one because.
Yeah, I think they're going to have that conversation. I think the coaches are going to know. I mean, they're not going to be able to let them walk away with it, but I don't. You've got that young receiver, and you have T.Y. Hilton.
They're playing.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. Yeah,
they're playing,
and they have a really good. I mean, I think for Indy at this point, let's not take any chances and hurt those receivers. Let's not take any chances and put Phillip Rivers in a game situation where that Jacksonville team may be very hungry up front and just to disrupt him. But let's go ahead and keep it on the ground. You got some pretty decent ground game. The Colts do. It's very young. It's fresh. Obviously, we know that, right?
Oh, yeah.
Again, every pick we're talking about, we've had a situation where, remember what happened to us.
Oh,
They've got a young ground game, a very nice, solid ground game, which was non-existent up until I go, oh, of course. We can't know that they didn't run the ball the whole first half. Let's not predict that they're going to come out running the second half. That's very well what that Colts defense did. So if they can do and just yards and finish off winning, but softly, I wouldn't try and come out and blow and put any hamstrings or groins or anything.
Oh, yeah, no way.
Hurt this team because I'm not saying, and I just say it again, Rivers, me not. But once they get in, that can change.
It can.
I don't know.
It can.
It changes.
It
changes. It can very well change.
The problem is they're going to need help. And that's the sad part is they need help. So moving on, we got the Titans and Texans. Look, the J.J. Watt is one of my favorite dudes because he says exactly what every player wants to tell a fan is straight to their face, and he's exactly the dude that should be a strength and conditioning coach when his time is up in the NFL. Because what he said is true. What J.J. Watt said is true. If you don't want to come here, you don't want to put in the work, we're playing a child's game. I love that. A lot of people, keep telling him to shut up. You're getting paid millions to play a child's game. But it's his passion. That's his thing. He's a great defensive player. He's one of the best we're probably ever going to see. And he's going to be on that boat. He's never going to win a ring. Not with the Texans. Not with the Texans, no way. No, unless he goes somewhere else, then maybe. But not with the Texans. The way they're building, he's not up for another rebuild. There's no way he's up for another. And the thing is, they don't even have a first rounder. That belongs to Miami. And you gave Miami a top 5 pick. You gave him a top 5 pick.
That still blows me away. That still blows me away. I remember,
But the Texans, they just need to regroup. And I'm going to make this short and sweet. The Titans and the Colts, they're fighting for the division. They're fighting for it. And it's going to be good to see who comes out on top. Give me the Titans as well, 11-5. And let's see who takes this division. Let's see how the rest goes. This game really, it's not even one to be worth talking forever because it's the Texans. They just have a string of bad luck. Deshaun Watson is an elite quarterback on a very terrible team. That's what he is. Deshaun Watson is a great quarterback on a terrible team. That sucks.
He's a great quarterback on your fantasy team.
Yeah.
That is,
yes.
He's a very good quarterback on your fantasy team. He did me really well this week. I think I only benched him twice, only because I had too much faith in Matty Ice, and then I also trusted that Stafford would get a job done. So I said, okay. But those are usually my go-to quarterbacks, is Stafford and Matty. But he has fantasy. Don't get me wrong, he can. I don't know what's going on. I mean, that they destroyed that team. O'Brien just again, we talked about it a couple weeks before. He just destroyed that team. I don't know what it's going to take. JJ, that whole video. That made me want to put pads on and go play and help him play. Because when you love the sport like that, passion, you put the blood. Literally, we've seen blood, sweat, and tears from him. Okay, we've seen it happen from him. He plays hard. He plays aggressive. I'm trying to think of the game. Was it last year? he went to the locker room. We thought he wasn't coming back, and he came and made this beautiful defensive play. I can't even think. It might have been a primetime game. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But that right there told me, man, that's a player. Like, he has a passion, has a heart for it. It's too bad the rest of the team doesn't feel that way for him. And if there's anybody watching, or if there's any fans out there, I really didn't want to go on to NFL ESPN pages and have this conversation. If you took any offense to what he said, and if you think the game should not be played like that, then you've never really had a true passion for a sport, or even played a sport yourself. Because I think, I think he was kind of a little out there. He had no filter going.
I can understand the frustration.
Look how long he's been in the league. Look the frustrations. Look how many coaches he's been. Look how many they had a chance where they were just right there, and
because that was real. What he said, that was real. Like, that was that wasn't your politically correct post-game interview. That was a real, non-filter. If this is how I'm gonna go out, well, I'm gonna go out my way. And he did. Oh, he did. Because once he did that, my girl was just like, "Did you see this?" And I'm like, "What's going on?" And I saw that video, and I was like, "Man, that's not the well, they had a better game plan." No, that was real. That was real talk. That was, hey, you know who I'm talking to type of moment. We don't know because we're not fans of the Houston Texans, but that was you know who I'm talking about to the owners and to everybody else in that locker room. Like, you know who I'm talking about. And that's a real wake-up call, because no one's going to judge him because he's done it all. Defensive Player of the Year, Pro Bowler, All-Pro, the whole nine. So no one's going to tell him to be quiet. All right? Now, whoever those people he was talking to, they better pray they have a job after this Sunday, because that was real. That was all real at that point. But I can't see them being the Titans. The Titans need a win. And I love Derrick Henry. And as much as I love JJ, that defense is still pretty bad. So give me Derrick Henry. Give me the Titans. Do you agree? I'm assuming you were going to go that route.
What was my upset that I had? Did I pick one? And while you look at that, I do want to give a big hi and welcome to Mr. Raider Alvarez. I think he's on the live. Can you comment on the video if you are watching?
Yes, he's
So do you follow him, Raider Alvarez?
I think I do. I have to look.
Yeah, I want him to get on because I really want to say something really quick, because it kind of something that relates to JJ Watt. So I don't know if he's on there. Is he on?
Oh, he'll say something. He'll say something.
He did. He probably linked on the one I shared. He's not in our live directly.
Okay.
So it looks like he can't see me. So if you want to talk about a JJ Watt Raider fan, Mr. Alvarez is that man. I connected with him through the group, and I seen him one time. He got in front of his live. It's been a long time other than my father that I've seen put a passion into discussing a game where you're just sick of the disappointment, the whys, the nots. Why is this not going on? So I feel JJ, because I felt Mr. Alvarez when he was talking on one of his lives. He was standing up over. He was directly into the camera. He's like, think about it. He goes, really think about it. Why are we not? And I go, I feel this, man.
It's hard. It's hard to.
I feel it, and he just impresses me. I know he hasn't done a live in a while, but he's still posting
it was hard.
articles and stuff. But it was really like, he gets it. He gets it.
I've always said I would love to be one of those reporters sitting in the podium, when the players are talking, but I don't think I want to be in that situation, because I wouldn't even know what the next question would be. Like, somebody has to say something. Like, somebody has to follow up. And it's like, well, how do you follow up a question with that? I think he said everything he needed to say. I think he obligated his 5-minute speech. So I think he's good to go until next week. I don't think there's a follow-up. You're good to go, JJ. You can leave if you want now.
You're free to excuse yourself now. Thank you for showing up today. You did a great job. We will see you on Wednesday to prepare for Tennessee. It was fun. But when, I had to give a shout out to my buddy, Mr. Raider Alvarez there. We got to see him more live, man. I miss it. But he's got a deep passion. He's been a fan for a long time. He's been to Vegas a couple times, the Caesars. Wishing to connect with him, most likely get out there again more the next season. But again, I feel JJ because when you see your fellow fan mate, with that same as a fan, you're like, I get it. Oh man, I hope you're better. He's fighting COVID right now. I hope you're better. I hope you and the family are well. I hope you and your wife are doing. He's got his biggest supporter, his wife. Beautiful, amazing. They're really big fans. So we'll do a prayer for you tonight, Mr. Alvarez. I had no idea, but I'll pray for you. Hopefully that you and your family are safe and fighting it, and for everybody to be safe. I will definitely do that, and I'll connect with you before this weekend so we can maybe talk about how we're going to finish the season off.
So here we go. The next one. It's kind of one where it's going to sting, but I need you to get through it. Okay? We got the 7-8 Raiders going up against the 5-10 Denver Broncos. Look, this has been a weird year for both teams. On the Denver side, it was high hopes in the offseason. They finally thought they got their quarterback of the future. They finally thought they were going to get another weapon to build around Cortland Sutton, Noah Fant. They signed Melvin Gordon. They drafted Jerry Jeudy. They polished the offensive line a bit. It could be better, but they did enough to where maybe they can make a run down the road, and it didn't work. John Elway did everything he could to make this work, and it didn't. Then, on top of that, Von Miller got hurt. He had to miss the rest of the year. And that was the first blow. Now they're sitting at 5-10. John Elway has to be thinking, he cannot be mad or shocked if he doesn't have a job after Monday, win or lose. Because your one job was really find your backup while Peyton Manning was there. That was your one job. And you couldn't even do that. It wasn't they were asking, find me another Hall of Famer. Just find a serviceable backup because we still have a young defense under the cap that we can still use. And we have an offensive line and offensive weapons out there that we can still use to make another run at a Super Bowl. And all they needed was one position, and that was the quarterback. So to me, John Elway does not deserve a job after Monday. Win or lose, he should be canned. I think the Bowden family should just get past the family relationship and just be like, look, it's not working out anymore. You gave us a hell of a run. Thank you. Goodbye. We wish you the best.
I agree on that. And again, a lot of my really good friends are Bronco fans. I lived in Colorado for some time. My grandson is a Bronco fan because of his papa, his grandpa, and my oldest daughter. So I've watched Bronco football most of half my life, right? Living in it, and then of course watching it with your mate at the time. So what? I gotta be careful because my friends are watching. I can feel it. Joe and Joe, Mr. Garcia is watching, I'm sure. Mr. Craig Torres, Bernadette, right? Everybody. I know all these Bronco fans. If they're not watching, they'll catch wind of it. Not you guys specifically, but I have watched Bronco fans just tear this team up.
It's hard.
They gave the receiver crap over the weekend. He had all the drop balls. I don't know. I did not watch that game. I watched pieces of it only because I knew already. I said, this is going to be fun to watch. Let's go back to LA. He saw something in Trevor. Simeon, is that his name?
Yep.
I don't know what or why. I don't know what. You had a point. LA didn't think about that long term. He didn't think of the what ifs and the what afters. He made some good pickups. He made a couple picks, and he thought maybe that he could build something and do something down there. I thought maybe I'd go, wow, you've got somebody with that caliber winning quarterback experience that can bring these young guys in. I was thinking, wow, Denver's very well on their way with these young quarterbacks, and then it just turns into what it's turned into, right? What did they have another one? Was it no? Who else was it?
Because after Peyton Manning, it was Brock Osweiler, Trevor Siemian, Paxton Lynch, and then you have
Paxton Lynch is the one, and yeah.
And now you have this cat. You have this cat in Drew Lock who had a good end of run, and he just never recaptured it. Even with all the added weapons, he never recaptured it. And the thing is, it's hard because as good as he is, as good he might be, it's just there's no time to develop a second rounder. There's no time anymore. In today's NFL, there's no more time. It's either you get it right away or you don't. Now, a first rounder, different circumstances, obviously, and we'll get into that later on. If you fail your first 2 seasons, they're still going to give you a third, a fourth. But after that, that's kind of it. You got to show me something. And it's the comparison for a first-round quarterback and a second-round quarterback, it's different. It is so much harsher. It is so much harder for a second-round quarterback to kind of stay. There's only very few taken after the first round where it's like, hey, I made it. Russell Wilson, he comes to mind. Carr with the Raiders, he's been there for 7 years now. I'm not saying that Carr and Russell Wilson are great. I mean, Russell Wilson's great. I'm not saying Carr is on Wilson's level. It's just it's very hard for a team to remain the starter after you've been selected after the first round. It's just a little bit trickier. Because the developing part, it's not there no more. It's not like Green Bay is one of the very last teams to do it, where they still had Brett Favre and they made Aaron Rodgers sit on the bench for 3 more seasons. 3 more. Like, you don't see that anymore. Maybe you'll see one where Alex Smith was the quarterback and then Patrick Mahomes was the backup for only 1 season. It's like, all right, Alex, thanks. They didn't wait 3 years. It's so, and for good reasons. Now we know Patrick Mahomes is really the real deal. So that's the thing.
There's a reason why he got to watch for 1 year. Says, okay, let's do this. And we, think about how many people were like, why did they let Smith go? What are they thinking? What are they doing? What are they doing? They were like, he had trust and hope that this young kid was going to come in and very well just doing it. Like, he's already a Super Bowl champ. But again, I'm going back to Denver. I know a lot of the fans are talking that it's Elway's turn. Again, don't lose that respect for what your GMs have done. He brought you some rings. You guys brag about you're tied with the Raiders now in rings. Well, okay, like you're not gonna. We all want our teams to do great every season. We want to either contend, but we don't want to see this like what we've going through, what the Raider fans are going through, right? But a lot of the fans are wanting Elway to step down now. They're hoping that they make that decision and part ways with him. And then hopefully, I think they have to bulk up on the offense a little bit. They have he's good. I think they need like that big tight end. Like they need a big tight end, a big tight end.
Because the thing is, he's 6'4", but like you look at the elite tight ends in today's NFL, they're 6'6", 6'7", i.e. Travis Kelce, Darren Waller, so forth and so forth. George Kittle's like 6'5", and that might even be a little small in today's NFL for a tight end. And that's the scary part, is that they're considered small athletes. George Kittle's considered a small athlete. But whatever the case may be, I think Noah Fant is on the right track. I just think what it is, that's what it is. Their defense is still good. It's just quarterback. It's quarterback. And I don't know what Denver's going to do. It's going to be interesting because if things stand where they stand right now, they pick number 10. And that's going to be one interesting case of the new guy coming in, because I believe Elway should step down. Elway should at least look himself in the mirror and say, look, I tried everything and I'm not getting it done. And if not him, the Bowden family should step in. Whether it's Pat, the wife, the son, I don't know who it has to be, the daughter, somebody has to step in because it's just not working anymore. It's not working. Yeah. It's not. Look, your second and third rounders, they're playing great. It's your first rounders, the ones that are busting and dying. That's the problem. You need your first rounders to keep going. Now, speaking of first rounders that are busting, let's talk about those Raiders, Maria. Let's talk about those first rounder Raiders. All right. Look, there's no secret.
Before we go off Denver, I do want to say something.
Oh boy.
They are missing probably the heart of that team. Probably that one of the last of veterans left. Okay,
Khalil Mack
hurt him. We thought, with Chubb on the other end would be, hey, you know what? Offense, we just need you to be on the field X amount of time, score some points, because we got a front who's there's going to be a quarterback that is going to not be very excited to face them. I love Von Miller. I really do. I don't like when he's on the opposite side of playing us, but he's man, that guy is something special. I don't know. It's unfortunate he was out this season. He'll be back though. And again, we'll talk about our division. We'll talk about. I'm really worried about our division. I'm really worried about our division. Oh, you found? Okay, it's not baseball time. Is the Raiders or Broncos going to win? Okay, you need to leave from here now. He's a little Bronco fan. He has his Giants hat on.
All right.
Okay, I'm doing a show, baby. Hold on. So, the thing is that, I'm afraid of this division and what's going to happen. You got what's happening in I keep saying that LA. Look at that team. My goodness.
It's hard.
Look at that team.
The thing is, the AFC West, it's about to be a little bit more challenging. I agree. Mm-hmm. You got the Chiefs, you got the Chargers that are building, the Broncos, they're just a piece away to kind of put it all together. The Raiders are that team right now where it's like, dude, you got to hit it right. You got to get this right. And me and my brother, we did the show yesterday. Me and my brother did the Raiders show yesterday. And he brought up points that I didn't think about. I listened to it, and I think they're good. My fear is going back to that Kansas City thing where why did they select Patrick Mahomes when they already had Alex Smith? You can't be afraid of being too comfortable. That's a statement I always kind of live by. You always want to go for the next big thing. Mm-hmm. I think as Raider fans, and not all of them, but some of them, and you've heard me say it plenty of times, a lot of Raider fans, especially in your group, I follow, they say that, Derek Carr is the best thing since Rich Gannon. Pump the brakes. Pump the brakes on that one. He is the best thing we've had since Jason Campbell and Bruce Gradkowski. Okay? He's not Rich Gannon. And I get it. Rich Gannon had a better defense and he had better weapons. I get all that. But if Raider fans out there are going to say, well, he's the best thing since Rich Gannon, then I'm going to, hold him to that standard. And that's the thing. When we hold him to that standard where it's like, well, he doesn't have the weapons that Gannon had. Well, wait a minute. You compared him to Gannon. I didn't. See, I compare him to Jason Campbell because of the situation he's in and what he's shown me. Some fans are comparing him to Rich Gannon because he's the best thing, as far as stats-wise. And see, that's the thing. When you start throwing in stats and everything, it kind of loses its purpose a little bit. It does lose its purpose, and that's why I made this a very clear thing. John Gruden messed up. He messed up big time. By playing Derek Carr on Saturday. Because now you have no trust between Carr and Mariota. There's nothing there. So now Gruden has to play devil's advocate. He has to stay all these things. And once this game's over on Sunday, he has to go home and make the biggest decision of his life. Because remember, Gruden came back only because of Carr. Now, he said that multiple times. Now, you saw what Mariota did. It took Carr 3 seasons to figure it out under that system. Mariota came off the bench, and he looked amazing. And all I'm saying is this, Maria.
You think amazing?
I think he looked pretty good. Look, for a backup quarterback, he looked pretty good to me. He looked like a starter to me. I didn't miss Derek Carr on that Thursday night game, did you? Okay, I'll see what so my thing is this, and this is what I'm going to tell people, and I know I'm going to get crap.
People hate me. I was hoping that they were already taking his pads off, and he was already on his, watching the game from upstairs or something.
And I know this is going to get onto your group. But all I'm going to say before I make my decision is this. Saving $16 million is a lot more than saving 10. It's the same thing with Matthew Stafford. We're not winning with him. So what would be the difference if we're not winning without him?
See, and that is where you got me now, because we just had this very conversation about Matt Stafford, right?
Mm-hmm.
The scenario. And we can't be hypocritical to it because it's our team and it's our, quote, QB. You look at it overall franchise, right? You look at, and then you look at the situation. We just said it. And you nailed it too, saying, okay, he may be the one, but what more can we do out there? But what more?
I get it. Derek Carr got dealt a crappy hand. There's no defense. He had to wait for receivers to come to him. But even then, what has he done? Like, tell me what he's done. And this is where I'm trying to understand the fans in general. Like, because I'm neither a Carr supporter or a Carr hater. I'm a Raider fan. But at the same time, I got to look at this team as a whole. It's like, I get it. There's no defense. That's a gimme. All right, that's a given. But he's the best thing since Gannon, according to some of your people's fan base, your fan group. He's the best thing since Gannon. Well, I'm still waiting for that Gannon-esque to come out. I haven't seen it. So
I'm going to give you my take on that.
So give me a reason why I don't want to save $60 million this offseason.
This one's a tough one. I want to go back. Let's talk about Gannon. Gannon was that good because he hit 60+%. Left, right, and then field. His completion ratio was always above that. It was never less in every time he played. But then again, look who he was throwing to. He had some really...
Oh, yeah.
I have maybe 3 or 4 words. Okay, veterans, 1. Skilled, talented, smart. Okay? Those were the 2... Well, I can name some other ones beyond after that. The shake and bake move on receivers. Those they shook those guys at the line so many times. Jerry Rice had his footwork was just beyond beautiful. Like, his footwork was just amazing.
Oh yeah.
I'm really and that's where I'm like, okay, what is it? Is it the play calling? We know the play calling is possibly crap. We know it has a lot to do with it, but. And I love my girl, Tiff. She nails a lot on the nose. She said something in regards to conditioning. The conditioning and the working out, because these guys are getting hurt. Are they hydrated enough? Are they keeping? Where the injuries are crazy. And we're not seeing calf muscle strains. It's just they're getting beat up on a hit. Like, are you, and Derek Carr just tweeted something too right now. I'm curious. Probably because he hears talking about it. But no, it's true. It's like these guys are getting beat up. We have an injury in that secondary every week. Name a game that we've had all secondary on the field. How many games this season have we had the secondary on the field?
And you're right. But you've known me quite a while now. And
right.
You've heard me say this plenty of times. I'm never going to have injuries as an excuse. The thing is this. You're in the NFL. You're the next man up. That's the mentality you're supposed to have, right? And what do I always hear? Yeah, I'm good.
And have those next men up. Have those next men up. Look at our next men up.
It's rough, but you're in the NFL, right? Okay,
right.
Play.
Just like Mr. Watt said, if you're here to play, you are going to play this game.
Thank you.
See,
thank you.
It is true. Do you see how everybody, the lesson for tonight, you got your pens and pads out and see how we circled back. And now you're going, wow, now we see how that tied, because it's true. And so hopefully if any people watch this, they'll go back to see what he said, and then think about just that. You know you're next. You know you're next man up. You know that your time potentially can come at any moment, any play, any hit, anything. And who has learned that the hardest? But our team.
Exactly.
I think they've had their opportunities. Those men up have had their opportunities. I'm trying to keep my frustration moderate, but they've had their next man up opportunity, and just I don't know.
It's not working.
I think I'm not making again to a point of no excuses and stuff. You got to be prepared. You have to sleep well. You have to train well. You have to learn the playbook. You have to watch tape. I can go on and on and on and on.
Mm-hmm.
Because potentially your time is going to come at any moment.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? But I think that I think at this point, there's no excitement on that sideline.
Oh, no.
There's zero excitement on that sideline.
Oh, no.
There's zero. Again, I think I talked about this.
All I'll tell you is this.
In my own group.
I will tell you this.
My own group for saying Carr gets off the field to the bench. Off the field to the bench.
I will tell you this much. If you, Alvin, the rest of the admins are having a hard time with the Carr debate, let me take over that. I will gladly take over that because you already know me well enough to know what my evaluations are for a quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to tell you this much. As a Raider fan, I do not trust Carr with 16 games. I can't do it. The issue, once upon a time, there was a little part of me that said, hey, maybe this kid's onto something. Even that 2016 season, I was still not even sold that he was MVP.
Really?
I was not even, because I'm like, wait a minute. So let me get this straight. The guy who's 8th in passing yardage, the guy who's 12th in touchdown passes, the guy who is 16th in QBR rating, that's your MVP. That's going to get your MVP vote. I guess anybody can be MVP in the NFL now. I guess anybody can win that award. I guess that award doesn't mean jack crap anymore. Okay, so there was a part of me where it's like, I think this kid, his first 2 seasons, it was like, okay, give him time. But after that, it's like, yeah, I was kind of, after year 5 for me, year 4, year 5, I was kind of over it. I was kind of like, yeah, we're still going to play him, but I don't really expect much out of it. Like, it's like this. If we had a superstar quarterback and if he gets hurt and he comes in, I'll be okay with that. Because I know he can do enough to win us a game and maybe kind of keep it close. But for me to sit here and say, do I trust Derek Carr with 16 games? No. I don't think I trust him holding a clipboard at this point. I don't trust him holding a clipboard on the sideline because there's no
I think that's where you and Al get along the most. Okay? Because and don't get me wrong here. So again, we have our admins and we have a group chat that's like 24/7. We have a couple that are in the East Coast, so I'm waking up to messages that were sent at 4 or 5 in the morning. I'm trying to catch up with, and then you got us, me, Ryan, Christian. A person, we're sending messages and they read it, and then the last couple of days has been very interesting. We have Ryan and Al. They have a huge difference when it comes to the quarterback situation. Tiff's all around, but Tiff's able to identify those. That's what makes it really fun about her. And you can see Tiff's frustrations in that group. She is she's over it. She's over it. She's been a fan. Raider Alvarez, he does not trust Gruden with the clipboard. Let that sink in.
Look, right now,
you know what? I'm gonna print that and I'm gonna put it in the corner of my little sports bar I got being built. But that's a pretty good statement. And if my dad knew how to get on lives and watch, he probably would say that. And I want to finish. Remind me to finish this with something that my dad mentioned.
Okay.
But again, I get it. Like I had no trust in Carr. I thought, you know what? He's just not the answer. He's just not it. I just feel like, I don't know. There's no Tiger. I mean, he's good. He can motivate and he can get, but was he really, really a true leader? Like, could he really, really lead this team?
No.
Does he have what it takes to be that leader? It's so, for me, and I know, gosh, I like Carr. I like him. It's so impressive watching Aaron Rodgers with that line. He does this thing, and they move up. It's like a recital. It's like a rehearsed routine.
It's secondhand nature.
It's beautiful. It's like.
But that's the thing. See, that's where it's kind of unfair too, because not a lot of people can be an Aaron Rodgers or Patrick Mahomes.
Oh yeah.
I'm just talking about the level.
That's probably not a fair.
I'm talking about the level of what Carr really is. This is where I see Carr at this point of his career. At this point of his career.
On me and bite my tongue, and if I got to put Sheila in my mouth, I really thought he was on a path to be that next A.
And if you ever have a chance to talk to my brother, and he'll tell you stuff I said during the draft process of when he was coming out, and I didn't see him as a franchise quarterback. It was kind of funny now looking back on it. I think at that point I had Teddy 1. Teddy was the best. I had Jimmy as my number 2. I think at one point I had Zach Mettenberger as my 3, Johnny Manziel as my 4, and then Derek Carr as my 5. Those were my top 5. And I didn't even see him as the top dude. It was Teddy Bridgewater. No.
Look when he got picked.
Yeah. Teddy got picked at the end of the first round. Johnny Manziel got picked first, and Carr got picked in the second. So, in the end, it's kind of like, I'm not going to say it's a wash. I'm just saying, going back to it, knowing what we know now, is Carr the better quarterback out of those 5? Well, he's better than Manziel. I know that. He's better than Mettenberger. I know that now. But can I sit here and say, is he better than Jimmy? I don't know. Maybe. Is he better than Teddy Bridgewater? Maybe. But if you were to give me those 3 options right now, I still take Teddy over Jimmy, over Carr. I still take Teddy Bridgewater over those 3. If those were my 3 options at this point in time, I will still take Teddy Bridgewater.
Teddy's name has come up among us admins.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say who, but it's come up. Yeah, it's just been touchy. The group has just beaten each other up over this Carr situation. Dave Walkley, he's a Buddy fan in the UK, and he did this post. I think you might have liked it.
I voted.
He did this whole Carr
I voted.
Fan.
Oh, yeah.
That's my boy. That's my boy right there. He, and I read it, even though I go, you know what? He's right. He's right. He went on saying, and laid it, and I go, I thought he was going to get eaten up. When I approved that post, I go, oh, Dave, I got your back, dude. Nobody's going to say anything to you. And just reading the comments, he got over 2.5K on it. And I'm like, it wasn't a rant of, that's my quarterback, we get those ones. He laid out some facts and emphasis and an actual and reality in a sense, and I love Dave. He's my favorite in the group.
This is kind of where I do get a little, like, I'm not going to say angry, but kind of a little bit of loss of interest with some of these fans. Okay, fine. If I say something negative about Carr, we got to keep it like that. We're just focusing on the guy. The second you start bringing in, well, look at the team he's got. Wait a minute. You're the one that said, and I go back to it, some fans have said he's the best thing since Rich Gannon. Hold on. You brought this up. You didn't tell me that, Gannon this and Gannon. No. You're talking about Gannon, the individual player? Well, I'm going to talk to you about Carr, the individual player. Once you start bringing up, he has no this, I lose interest. To me, at that point, it's like, you just want Carr to succeed.
And nobody stays on topic. So this is a perfect example. I went into the Las Vegas Raider page, and they were showing highlights of the game. My comment was just this. 1 touchdown and 5 trips. Gee, thanks for the highlight. You know what someone commented on there? Ask me. Please ask me.
What happened?
So how is this Carr's fault? I go, I never mentioned Derek Carr.
That's the hard part.
That is where that shows me where you're at.
Yeah.
And you maybe closet feel that there's some accountability there, but there's also that you didn't potentially pay attention to what I was talking about. I was directing to the fan page.
The unit. You were distracting to the whole unit.
I says, "Oh, you're shy." I go, "Yeah, thanks for the highlights. 1 touchdown and 5 trips. Wow, thanks. That was so exciting. You didn't have to show anything else but the 1 touchdown."
How about 0 for 10 on the 3rd down? How about that? Did they show those?
See, and I don't get into it with those guys. Says, you know what, you guys.
It's hard.
Says, you know, you guys are mad, and I'm sorry. I don't mean to offend anybody, but Raider Alvarez, you guys know well. I have to sometimes. I got to go look at how old this fan potentially is, because if they're a fan established 2002, I'm not messing with you. I'm not messing with you, because I know Raider football in a different extreme. That's why I've toned it down in there. There's some very people that can shut me up. There very well can be. But again, another person, Rich Perez, he's not a stat dude. He's not a stat dude. He reminds me a lot of Raider Alvarez. Those guys talk Raider football. They talk Raider football on the level that is non-existent anymore. So
it's hard.
And if you're one of those people if you're one of those fans that are like, oh, well, my quarterback's number 2 right now, or and I praise him for this. JJ's number 3, number 5. Looks pretty on paper. What's that going to do? What's that doing? Okay. So go get a poster that says NFL ranking overall and be proud of being placed your quarterback or your running back are number 3 and number 5. And you tell me if that makes you sleep at night, or if that pleases or satisfies you of the performance your team did for 2020.
And looking at these notes right now, let's see. So according to these guys, we got the 2nd best tight end, the 6th best running back, and the 5th best quarterback, according to QBR.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make those flyers, and I'm going to send them to everybody's inbox here. There's your participation.
Yeah.
There's your participation for 2020. We appreciate you.
And they're 7-8. Perfect. That's exactly what I want to hear. Perfect.
Yeah,
so
yeah, I feel good about that.
Yeah.
I feel good. And depending how we go with our heads in there, I hope we finish 8-8.
But I hope we go 8-8 and we carry it into the momentum.
Okay, if we go 7-9, I'm going to have a 6-year-old that's going to need a place to sleep and live. He's got a bunch of toys. So, yeah, I don't know Bronco, nothing over here.
Is he afraid of York? Is he afraid of...
He's all, hey.
Is he afraid of Yorkies? I got room. Is he afraid of Yorkies? He'll get along with our Yorkie then. That's all good. I got room for them.
He says, hey, don't disrespect my team.
So here we go.
No one. He said no one. So I'm telling you, I'm raising him to be football, though. I'm raising him to be football.
There is something that, I am trying to work on. I'm trying to get a bunch of people from your page to try to see, hey, the off season's coming. I got my YouTube page going for season 2 of the whole draft. I cover every team, yada, yada. Oh, I have fun. I have a lot of fun with it.
If you can't get him, we'll definitely, we talked about doing that. Ryan I think you would be great on there. I want to get a more veteran, I'll see if Raider Alvarez is down to do it. I do want to get maybe about 6 people that would do breakdown. I want to see the green disagree. I want a complete breakdown. I think we can be huge with this. Again, we're strong.
Oh, you think you can beat me on draft?
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
Okay, wait, hold on. Before we go there, what's your pick for Sunday?
For Sunday, I got the Raiders. As bad as the Raiders are, the Broncos just look even worse. I think the Raiders can handle the Broncos, even with the banged-up offensive line, even with that horrid defense. I think they can handle the Broncos, and they have to win this just for the sake of sanity for Raider Nation to finish 8-8.
I think so, too. I agree on that. I think Denver's just in that mentality of, like, I don't want to say it because I wouldn't. I mean, there's, it's like, you know what? Season shot. We're gonna finish and play it out. they're really not spoiling anything for us. But if we want to have this little backyard game of see who, who's going to come up on top, then absolutely, let's go ahead and do it. But we have the receiving core is healthy. I think Josh Jacobs going to run very well. Third and Husband's going to be out there. I think he's going to have another good game. He had a very good first quarter, first half last week or this past Sunday. So I think they're going to do well. They're going to score. I think Carr throws. I think he's going to throw. Gosh, this is being generous. Sometimes, and then again, my quarterback's going to throw four touchdowns. No, I think he gets maybe 2 or 3.
Yeah,
I think he gets about 2 or 3. Raiders win by 13. You took that right out of my my prediction, Alvarez. So Alvarez has us winning by 13.
Okay.
12. I was going to say 12.
I think that's a little. I'm not going to say low, but I don't want to say. I think it's going to be a lot closer than. I think it's going to be way closer than the first time they played them. Let's just leave it at that. The first time they played them, yeah, I'm going to say maybe 2 field goals. I think somebody misses an extra point, and I hope it's Broncos that missed that extra point. I think they win by a touchdown, but I think Denver misses that extra point or something. So
I'll take their kicker before ours. So I don't think that's going to happen with them, but I'm going to go out and take the Raiders with 12. Yeah, I think we're going to go ahead and do a 12. But yeah, it's a really good pick. So the Raiders they win it. We hold our heads up high. We walk away from this one and hopefully, and I don't know. I was sitting Monday, it took me a little bit to get over. I know somebody who just totally gave up on football on their team. They wanted nothing to do with the Raiders because they were just huge disappointment. And they're still a friend of mine they used to be an admin inside the group. And I don't know if he's watching. I won't say his name. But I get why he does a frustration and then dealing with the fans and just
It's hard. But the thing is, it's to others, it's just a game. To the more dedicated, and this is all fan bases, to the ones that really love their team, it's poison. It's really poison what we do to ourselves to watch our teams play. It's whether it's you got to go to a bar, or you got to go to another state, or you got to go somewhere else to watch the game. It's poison. And that's kind of where it is,
It's poison. It's toxic. It's stressful. Everything to be a Raider fan. We know that. And with that being said, I think this season really kind of hit me on the heart a little bit. I get being a fan from my father, because what got my heart is because my father is always hopeful for this team every year.
And it hurts.
My father knows football for a long time. I carefully watch him in the group because he'll comment, and that's my dad, and somebody called him something once before. So it's because he made and it was pertaining to Mac. And I won't go into what he said.
But hard.
I feel like us Raider fans, we always go back to Mac when we're losing. I guarantee you, if we were in a playoff spot, we wouldn't be saying his name.
Mac is going to be that player that I do miss, and I still miss today. But I can't worry about him. He's doing his thing in Chicago. That's not my problem anymore.
He's doing something for a team that's not helping us and not going to do it and change anything in the outcome of what's happened. So I don't discuss him. Yeah, it's one of those things. It's like, man, what if I had done that? Dang, only if that person was there. Only if I had done that. And those are the same ones that are talking about, you Raider fans talk about being in the past too much. Quit talking about the what ifs and what already happened and nothing that we can do about. Now, if something happens in our favor, well, it could circle back where it come. Oh yeah, I'm the first one to say, oh my gosh, let's do it. But not at the cost of what we did, of handing out draft picks and, round by. No. But, my dad, so I just couldn't believe what happened. And, as you know, Jason was a very huge Raider fan that I lost just a couple months ago, and we chopped it up, and he just was a huge fan. The frustrations of when we lost and stuff, but my dad called me right after the game. The team wasn't even off the field. My dad usually doesn't call me right after games. He'll call me a little bit after. We'll talk about it the next day. My dad called me, and the way he sounded on the phone, I thought something happened. I was like, Dad, what's wrong? You're okay? And he was just like, why? It sounds like he lost something, like if the dog ran away or something. Why would Gruden do something like that? What is wrong with, like, it was almost of like a pleading of, why did someone steal my dog? And when I listened to my dad, and he's like, what is he thinking? What is wrong? And he was I haven't heard my dad like that in a long time when it comes to this team.
Yeah,
he's always the first one to be like, it's okay. They'll get back in there. We know we got to they got to use them. Oh, see, and he'll call me the next week after. See, that's what I was talking about. And that right there says, man, we're prepared here for.
My wife has a thing for me after every Raider game. It's called the Midnight Rule. What it is I could talk about the game, I could show my frustration, but once it's midnight, that's it. I gotta drop it and move on. Because she's new to it, kinda, because she's watched football, but she's never been like a fan of a team. So until she got with me, she was kind of like, man, you're really like serious about this. Like, this is your life. And she always tell me, like, don't you take breaks from work? Don't you do this? Like, and after dating for a while, she's all, I only take breaks for certain things. Super Bowl, draft parties, and the regular season. That's it. Every other day, I'm at work. So that is my life. That's the sad part. It's not sad to some. It's just, if you get it, you get it. You know what I mean? So,
and of course we hear those things. Well, you're not the one playing. You're not the one coaching.
Mm-hmm.
But just like, what did Mr. Watt say? He goes, we think about the fans. They're the ones out there. Carr said it too, but I think he, I'm out like Gunther. Have a blessed night. We'll see y'all, Russ. We'll talk to you soon. Get rest, get better. Please let me know when you've cleared and that you are good to go. And sending blessings and get wells to you and the family. We'll talk to you soon. So it's like, yeah, it's like, we had these fans and they're out there. It was so funny. It goes, they're out there spending money and they're buying our stuff and they're taking time and their days, because he gets it. He gets it. He hit it right on the nose. I really want to run into somebody that is not okay with how unfiltered he was and anything that he said. I really just want to know.
Because even some of my coworkers from my previous job would be like, you're really going to go out there? And I had to break it down to him. Like, do you understand? I spend less going to an Oakland Raider game than I do going to a club in LA. Like, I spend money on a flight and to get over there and back. It's ridiculous to me. And I wish I could see JJ Watt and give him a hug. Because when he said the fan part, it's like, he gets it.
That's that time where he needed,
He gets it.
It's crazy. But and in the end of the day, the season will end. We will all still be Raider fans. We will all still wonderfully wear our colors.
And that's the thing. That's the thing.
Fan base. I'm sorry. Now there's 3 fan bases that'll turn jerseys and throw it. That's like my money. And every jersey I own, that player has contributed heavily to the team. And we're just not those people.
I still have my Jacoby Ford jersey. Let's just put it that way.
But I will tell you, what was the last? Not the Miami game. Oh, the Colts game. That was an away game, right? Was that in Vegas or was that in Indy?
That was in Vegas.
Okay. I wore white. Maybe it was the week before. I had so I of course I own husband in white and black. And that game hadn't even finished, and I freaking took off my jersey. I was like, my son goes, geez, mommy is like, just ripped it off like nothing. Like, I don't want to talk about this game. I go over it, and I never usually, I'm like, hanging out in it, but it was a little frustrating. But man, I love my team. I think everybody who is a fan loves their team. And that's for every fan base. You're going to have those ones that, about the colors, about,
I love those fans, though.
No matter what. And so, okay, that's what I wanted to bring up. So somebody said something, and Tiffany goes, "You must like losing, huh?" I was done. I says, "Oh my gosh." I think those ones that are just maybe accustomed and like numb to it, but I don't. After a while, man. I mean, let's look at the last 20 years.
I don't want to.
I try not to. I think I had three great times during that 20. And I put the picture of Mr. Ron Curry and the nice Denver. That was
the finish. Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just what it is. I think what it is now, for me, it's the Raiders this Sunday. And then I get to wave goodbye to number 4. I'm calling it right now. And you can share it. You can share it with your group.
It's fine. Okay.
And you can share it with your group. And they could come after me. And I'll tell you, it's like, don't care. Because I've seen enough to where we're not winning with them. We're not going to win without them. What's the difference then?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, what are we on, 6? So no.
7 years.
7 years.
7 years.
7 years. Well, Atlanta's held on to Matty Ice this long.
Matty Ice has actually won something. Matty Ice has won an MVP and a Super Bowl berth.
I'm about 50-50 on it. I'm gonna see how this week plays. I did see the pictures of practice, the reps. Mariota was taking reps. He was doing some handoffs to Riddick, and they were doing some things on the field together. And again, we could sit here all day talking about this team. But again, and I know Mariota had a couple that he was out and injured. I know people say I'm crazy. Oh, that's, don't do that. It's because Gruden's not creative and fun. Bring in and throw off the defense and bring Mariota on a third down on rollout, throw off. Okay, why he's coming in for that one play. Have him, these guys could have been utilized in so many ways rather than, Mariota, we're going to sit your potential, because granted that is your job, is to come in when need be, and you are that backup, and you are going to be that in hopes that number 4 goes down. You come in the way you did and put up the performance that you did. But I definitely would build a scheme that would have him on the field maybe twice a game.
Yeah, for me, you already know where I stand as far as what.
I'm not the coach. They're not paying me.
As a fan, for me, you already know where I stand as far as the quarterback situation. And I keep saying it till draft day, till the next season. 16 million is more than 10 million. That's all I'm going to say.
And Ryan could break down the salary cap and just beautifully. He probably going to get ready to afterwards. He did it really good last year. So prepare a salary cap in a scenario and where money could be and where we could save money. We'll lose money and potentially gain some money for some talent out there. Because I don't know. We don't have anybody that we'd have to put money out that could potentially be go. Contracts are fine. We just have to make sure we're going to have the money in the next 2 seasons to pay those contracts, and who it is going to be. But he'll definitely do a breakdown of the salary of the cap and what it looks like too. And it's hot right now. The admins we got about 3.5 car and 3.5 non-car, 3.5 offense, 3.5 defense.
Oof, it's going to be rough, but here we go.
Chat, but I love it. We have some conversations, but I love these guys. These guys are like a family. We've been doing this now for some time, like I mentioned. I mean, we haven't met up. We probably hopefully going to try to, but we've been running the page for 4 or 5 years now, and I love them. I love them as people, like family. That's family, and we go at it. Boy, we can go at it. I kind of am the mommy of the group where I'm like, all right, I'm going to step back and
Let you boys handle it.
We've had some family issues in that chat. Okay, there's a lot going on, but we keep it respectable. And then again, on the note, we know that it's football, and we're not. It's no disrespect to each other. So that's one part.
So here we go. 4 games, and they're gonna have to be quick picks. So here we go. Chargers, Chiefs. Who do you got?
The Chargers and who?
The Chargers and Chiefs. Remember, Patrick Mahomes isn't playing this week. So remember that.
He's already got to number 1. You got to roll through Arrowhead to get to the Super Bowl. Blah, 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 blah. Getting tired of hearing it. Reed's not going to have his guys let up just because they're positioned at the number 1. There's no way. He's not going to. It's not his style of play to let up. He's a competitor. He plays hard, and he plays hard to finish. And I bet they'll walk away with a beautiful record with that 1 win or 1 loss. At least we could be proud about that, But I don't see. Yeah. That's somebody put a thing that Rose or somebody was coming back, and I go, yay! It's pointless now. But it's not Reed to let up. It's not his style to tell his team, "Hey, let up. We're already in." They're gonna roll out of there with the best record out there. So
you going with the Chiefs on this one? I'm assuming.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I got some news for you. I'm actually gonna take the Chargers in this one. I think the Chargers can go into Arrowhead and take that because remember, the Chiefs are really good on the road, but they're kind of getting as lucky at home, which is weird. And I think the Chargers just have enough talent, especially with Patrick Mahomes being out. I know Kelsey's going to play. I know Hill's going to play. But if you remember, when they met in L.A., that was an unlucky break for the Chargers to lose. I don't think they lose twice to these guys. I think they find a way to get it done in Arrowhead.
Let me I'm not a big stat person. I don't base my picks off stats, but I want to look at something really quick.
All right, well, here we go.
Website right now.
So the next game, we got Packers and Bears. The Bears need a win to at least smell the playoffs, and the Packers need to win this to get the number 1 seed. It's not even going to be a waste of my time. Give me the Packers over the Bears.
Yeah, I'll take the Packers too. There's no stopping those. That again, you got that duo right there. It's dynamic. It's now considered dynamic duo.
With Devontae and Aaron. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The next up, we got the Saints-Panthers. Look, the Saints need a win to get a higher seed. The Panthers are playing for pride. I think, Sean Payne's in the same boat as Andy Reid. He's not going to let up. So give me the Saints over the Panthers on this one.
Yeah, I agree with that one. I actually picked. I was drawing my picks as we were going through talking. So yeah, I have them down as well.
And then lastly, Sunday Night Football, the last one of the year. And they picked kind of a weird one, but I'll take it. It is Washington against Philadelphia. I think I am going to make a prediction now. I think the Colts are in line to trade for Jalen Hurts this next offseason. I think because you can't trade for Wentz. His contract's immovable. I can already think of 2 or 3 teams on the top of my head where they're going to be lining up in Philadelphia to at least have a conversation of trade talks for Jalen Hurts. So, but in this case, give me Washington. Give me Washington. They're just playing too good right now. And with Alex Smith back and with that whole fiasco of Dwayne Haskins, that's in the past now. Give me Washington over Philadelphia.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and with that game, I think I'm going to I think Washington is going to walk away with that one.
Yeah, because if Washington wins this one, then the NFC East is decided. It's Washington at a whopping 7-9, and they're the NFC East champs.
Right. So you're going to go ahead and you're going to take the Chargers over Kansas City.
I am that dude this week. That's
so
right.
This morning, earlier, I was having a conversation with a new coworker of mine. He is a huge sports. His father-in-law played for the 49ers. I can't disclose too much more than that. Because he proved all his notables and he proved that he is actually legit. Oh, yeah. And he, are we playing in Santa Clara next week, or is the game in Vegas? Is it a away game or home game?
Which one? The
49er game.
The 49ers in Arizona. Santa Clara shut down.
He says if I stick around, I'm going to be on that field with him. So I'm excited. I'm going to get beat up, but I'm going to be there. Ooh. All right. I'm going to go ahead and just stay with Kansas City to make it fun. But I can see the Chargers coming out. I mean, I don't know about that Chargers front. If they can startle Mahomes a little bit on edge. But Tyreek Hill, I just, the secondary, I don't know if it's enough manpower to control him. Just Mahomes makes things happen blindfolded. And it's just really, at this point, it's just unbelievable.
Well, for me,
I really hope the upset happens. I'm just going to go ahead and stay with Kansas City on that one.
Well, remember, Patrick Mahomes isn't playing. He's already been shut down for the week. So there's going to be a couple weeks where we're not going to see him because remember they already have the bye.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of Andy Reid. It's just he's conservative. He's not humble.
I know, but I just have this weird feeling that the Chargers are going to roll into Arrowhead and they might pull one away. I have that faith for my Charger buddies out there. Like you're going to get one great win. I don't know what win that's going to be, but I hope it's this one.
Yeah.
And that will do it. That is our picks. So that's going to do it for the regular season. Week 17, we're in the books. That's it. And that is, I know. For some of us, we're going to go fishing. For others, it's playoff times. And after this Sunday, it is nothing but Lakers basketball for me from here on out.
Well, let's definitely do this after the seeds are placed. After Sunday, I'll write it down. Let's take a look at it. You and I seem to have some very, very good differences when it comes to picks and stuff and things. So we'll have to do a side by side. I'm curious. I'm just gonna tell you. Send me a picture of what you got, and then we're gonna see.
Oh, I'll post it on the group too. I usually post them, so you'll see it right there too. So
yeah, definitely do that. I'm gonna do a playoff pool at work, so we'll see how it goes.
Oh God, no.
Oops, I didn't say that on live. I'm just kidding. We're gonna just play around. Of course, someone working in HR, I'm putting a playoff pool together at work. Go figure. Gotta do it. But it was fun. I mean, I know we went completely way over, but still, we could talk football forever.
Well, we're gonna have to work on that. We'll work on that. We got a whole off season to work on that.
We'll put our time in, but we still have our dedicated viewers who sat through this with us the whole time. So I'm excited about that.
And then the thing is, I'm doing this on YouTube, on my YouTube page as well, and the comments are ridiculous.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad I was able to join in and stuff. I know when you asked me, and I was like, wait, today's Wednesday. It's the Pick'ems day. And I was like, shoot. So, yeah. Okay. But, yeah, it was fun. Thanks again for inviting.
Oh, no. Well, you're the only brave soul brave enough to do this. I try to invite people, and because, they always send me messages after the show. And they never, and I always tell them, all right, we'll get on the show. And they're like, okay. I'm like, well, let's do it live. Never mind. So they're not, I guess, not brave enough to do this live. So you're the only brave soul enough to do this.
Come on, I know there's brave souls out there.
Not enough. Not enough.
Right.
But all right, Maria, thank you so much. We will have to try to see creating our thing for starting next year. We'll start week 1 all the way, and then who knows? Maybe we'll have a Team Junior versus a Team Maria. Let's see who comes out on top.
Let's do that. Maybe let's try and see. We do a playoff discussion or something when after. I like to do it probably after the first wild card games. I think it's going to get more exciting. It's going to be exciting because wild card. I'm thinking some really wild card is going to be fun, and it's going to be probably everything that we didn't expect. And it's going to be like, what is going on with 2020? 2020 season. But yeah.
All right. Let's see what happens here. But thank you again. It was a lot of fun. I appreciate it. Now
we'll talk to you soon.
Now I just got to get off this and do the podcast for the exact same thing, and I'll be ready to go.
Right. The fun part. Okay. I'll talk to you on. Have a good night.
You have a good night. It never ends. It never ends, apparently.
Go Raiders.
Go Raiders, Maria. Take it easy. Bye-bye.